as Adam Small begins our team coverage.
Representative Trevor Lee has introduced a bill to remove Harvey Milk's name from 900 South and rename the road Charlie Kirk Boulevard.
He was a kind man. He was a good Christian going man. He actually lived what he preached, which I find very hard. It's very hard to find in this day and age, and Charlie was the best of us.
Lee tells me he wants to remove Harvey Milk's name because he has no ties to Utah, and
it's the heart of Salt Lake City. It's the heart of our state, right? It's in the middle of it. So I feel like it's a good representation of, everywhere people come to Utah, Charlie Kirk Boulevard. It's a very prominent street.
Lee also noted the name of the road has been changed before. Lawmakers are set to debate and vote on Lee's proposal in the upcoming legislative session. As it's currently written, if this bill is passed into law, it would go into effect in May. Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
We are hearing from Salt Lake City business owners about the possible name change. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera continues our team coverage. Eric?
Maria, for business owners along 9th South, the debate over Harvey Milk Boulevard feels personal. Maddie Nilsson owns Salt Lake Pottery Studio and the Art Cafe on the street and says many businesses intentionally chose this location because of what the name represents. She says Harvey Milk's legacy mirrors the identity of the neighborhood itself.
He was not only a trailblazer for equality, but also a builder of communities across all cultures, working intentionally with communities beyond his own to create positive change. That is what 900 South is. That is why we named it Harvey Milk.
Supporters of the petition say they're taking their message directly to City Hall next, with Nilsson and Equality Utah planning to bring the petition before the Salt Lake City Council. Live, Eric Cabrera, KSL News Radio.
The Democratic National Committee has sent a letter to Utah's lieutenant governor saying there will be legal action if voter registration files are sent to the Trump administration. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis has more.
The DNC's letter to Lieutenant Governor DJ Henderson, obtained by Deseret News, says the Trump administration's Memorandum of Understanding violates the National Voter Registration Act. It was last May the Department of Justice asked for copies of the voter registration files. Henderson originally sent publicly available lists, but the department has since asked for unredacted voter rolls.
In a December hearing, Utah indicated that they might be willing to share the unredacted list under a Memorandum of Understanding. Salt Lake police continue to search for the people who opened fire outside a funeral in a church parking lot last week in Salt Lake City, killing 2 and injuring others. Investigators believe some of the people involved have gang ties, and they say some of the witnesses have not been cooperating in the investigation. A cold case in Washington County may come one step closer to being solved thanks to revolutions in DNA technology. KSL News Radio's Cameron Elliott reports.
This unidentified woman has remained in the unknown plot marker in the Hurricane Cemetery since 1970. That is, until 2014, when the case was reopened because of a confession by a prisoner in New York State. Authorities say the inmate confessed to a murder that was consistent with the time and location, but because they were never told the man's name, they could never follow up on it. Detectives then planned to exhume the woman's body to pull DNA evidence, but when they dug up her plot, they couldn't find her. A new detective who has since been assigned the case says that they're going to go back and try again.
The detective in charge says they may have missed the body because of changes in grave digging practices since the 1970s. The lone survivor of what police believe was a murder-suicide in West Valley City just over a year ago has unexpectedly passed away. Shaw Ray's extended family says he died due to natural causes yesterday. Police say Ray's father shot his mom, him, and his 3 siblings before shooting himself in their home in December of 2024. Ray spoke with KSL TV last year after he got out of the hospital.
My one major goal is to be happy and to make others happy.
Ray was left blind in both eyes, but he went on to learn Braille, graduate high school, and start classes at the University of Utah. He was 19 years old. KSL's top national stories this half hour. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell says is now at the center of a criminal probe. It's related to a renovation of the Fed's headquarters. ABC News national correspondent Stephen Portnoy has the latest.
The Justice Department isn't commenting on what it's investigating, but Florida Republican Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna sent DOJ a letter last July, alleging Jerome Powell had lied to the Senate, denying a VIP dining room, new marble, and special elevators were part of the renovation. Fed officials insist much of what critics have seized on in the plans has since been eliminated, and that references to executive dining rooms are descriptive labels that don't reflect how those spaces will actually be used.
House Speaker Mike Johnson was asked if he thinks the investigation is warranted.
I have not reviewed his testimony, so I'm not sure, but that's not really my lane. We'll have to see what happens, but I was a little busy over the weekend, so I haven't seen the video.
Powell claims the investigation is about President Trump's pressure campaign to undermine the Fed's independence and to lower interest rates. First look traffic. Good afternoon, Ricky.
Good afternoon, Maria. Nice and quiet on the Valley freeways and a beautiful drive if you're headed into the canyons, whether that's going to be Weber Canyon, Provo Canyon, Big or Little Cottonwood, or I-80 in Parleys. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL News Time, 12:05.
When you're making resolutions for the new year, have you ever thought of making a resolution to get a new metabolism?
So that your body is burning fat more naturally? I used to have a terrible metabolism because I didn't know what to eat or when to eat it until I did Soda weight loss. I let go of 37 pounds, and now my metabolism works for me.
I let go of 70 pounds in 5 months, and it was so nice because once that metabolism changes, the things that affected you more regularly don't affect you anymore. And those are the things that I learned from my nutritionist as I was going along and even afterward. It's so helpful. They taught me how to be successful for life.
You can call and speak to a nutritionist at Soda Weight Loss today at 866-800-SODA, S-O-T-A. That's 866-800-SODA.
Or you can go to sodaweightloss.com and see the hundreds of before and after pictures. And right now is the best time to do it because if you join now, your partner joins for free, so you get 2 transformations for the price of 1.
It's 866-800-SODA.
Because soda is, say it with me, Amanda, state of the art.
Is your financial advisor offering you up to a 30% upfront bonus? Or are they promising you up to 10% growth per year, all for your retirement income? If not, then you need to come to Trajan Wealth. I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. If you have a plan to retire within the next 10 years, don't wait only to find out it's too late. I've seen hardworking folks like you retire only to be required to go back to work, all because their advisor told them guarantees like these were too good to be true. They're not. That's up to $30,000 upfront or up to $10,000 per year on $100,000, all guaranteed for retirement income. Don't keep working when you're supposed to be retired, and don't let any financial advisor tell you it's too good to be true. Call Trajan today, 801-207-9900. That's 801-207-9900.
Annuities, non-advisory products. DBA Trajan Wealth Insurance Solutions. Additional disclosures at trajanwealth.com.
Thank you for joining us for Midday, recapping our top story. A Utah representative is proposing a bill to rename a street downtown after political activist Charlie Kirk. KSL News Time, 12:08. Search and rescue teams in Iron County saved a man who got lost on Black Mountain Road this weekend. He got stuck in a snowdrift and left his car to find phone service. He walked for more than an hour in the cold, windy, and dark area. He was showing signs of hypothermia when crews found him. He was warmed up and taken off the mountain. The warm weather this winter has postponed or even canceled some ice fishing tournaments, but now they're back on as the cold temps are back and the ice is again on lakes and reservoirs. Trina Hedrick with the Division of Wildlife Resources says the ice should be at least 5 inches thick to be safe to stand on, and she advises watching for rotten ice.
It's going to be clouded. It's going to be like layered too. Yeah, it's just strange, and you just kind of probably want to stay off of that.
Hedrick also advises against driving onto the ice. She hopes anglers will go after small lake trout in Flaming Gorge Reservoir because they are outcompeting desirable fish like the kokanee salmon. 5 state fishing records were broken last year: 2 catch and release, 2 catch and keep, and 1 spearfishing. Utah wildlife officials say keeping track of the size of the fish encourages angling and recognizes achievements. Department of Natural Resources is looking for a driver suspected of purposely hitting a deer. It was back on New Year's Eve in Rich County. Evidence showed the driver veering out of the lane toward the deer. Anyone with information is encouraged to reach out. The Burley, Idaho Temple becomes the first temple to be dedicated by the new president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. President Dallin H. Oaks says he had looked over the list of temples to dedicate when he was still a counselor to former President Russell M. Nelson and had been originally looking for a location his wife Kristen would like to go to.
She likes to go to exotic places, but I didn't see any exotic places that were more attractive to me than this community because I associate it with my youth.
President Oaks had lived in nearby Twin Falls, Idaho for 5 years as a child. The Burley Temple is the church's 212th operating temple. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by UCCU. Transfer savings, earn more. UCCU, love where you bank. Here's Ricky Meese.
Nice and quiet on the Valley freeways. Good speeds up and down I-15 between Ogden and Provo. Higher elevations. Roads are clear in the canyons. We do have one crash reported. It's up north, way up there in Brigham City. A crash at Main Street and Forest Street in Brigham City. They do have it moved out of traffic now to the right shoulder. It had been blocking some lanes, but you do want to watch for crews at the scene. You should be able to get through without too much difficulty. Attention, Wasatch Front businesses and property managers. Don't wait for bad weather to schedule professional snow service with GoPave Utah. Your complete parking lot safety starts with GoPaveUtah.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Our strongest inversion event yet this winter is underway. Look for a high of 39 today, high pressure overhead, keeping it mostly sunny but hazy as ever down at the valley floor. We'll go to 24 overnight, hazy. Tomorrow, more haze, 39 the high, partly cloudy with air quality into the orange. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Not loving the haze. Hazy sunshine, 36 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City. And still to come on Midday with Maria Shilaos. We'll talk to Dave Cawley with KSL Podcasts about his experience with cold cases. That's coming up, streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station. So how are you doing with your New Year's resolutions? Have you been working out, watching what you eat, but you're not moving the scale? You know, that's pretty much what I tried a couple of years ago before I started with Salt Lake City Fat Loss. I started out the new year on the right foot. I was working out for more than an hour a day and really cutting back on everything I was eating. And I'll tell you, it didn't budge the scale much. And that's when I learned about Salt Lake City Fat Loss. And take it from me, you really have to have a plan to be successful, and it's not, you just can't work off that weight. I've lost more than 40 pounds with the help of Salt Lake City Fat Loss. It's a great all-natural program. It helps you drop the weight fast, and that means it's easy to stick with, plus there are no side effects. Another great attribute of this program is it's less expensive than other programs because you don't have to pay for breakfast bars and stuff like that. And right now is the perfect time to start because they have extended their huge New Year's sale over 20% off, but this sale is not going to last. So you're going to want to contact them today at slcfatloss.com. So whether it's you want to look better, boost your energy, fit better in your clothes, or just feel more confident and healthier as you age, Salt Lake City Fat Loss works. Schedule your free consultation today at slcfatloss.com. Lock in the savings, slcfatloss.com.
For nearly 70 years, Les Olson IT has been the trusted name for businesses. From state-of-the-art printers and copiers to managed IT services, we have the solutions you need to stay ahead in today's world. And now Les Olson IT is trusted and licensed in Utah for security systems, for technology that helps you work smarter. Les Olson IT, providing solutions that empower your business.
Les Olson IT.
Calling all Jazz fans. If you can't wait another second to see stars like Ace Bailey and Lowry Markkanen tear up the court, you're in luck. Tickets are on sale now. Let's go! No matter what you're looking for, the Utah Jazz has your back. With season tickets, mini plans, and single game options available, there's something for everyone. Whatever your schedule or budget, there's a plan for every fan. Don't miss a moment of the action this season. Secure your tickets today at utahjazz.com.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime.
Our entry-level data plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
Meet Matthew Preston,
Inside his apartment, everything he holds dear is protected by Progressive's renter's insurance, like his laptop and a surprisingly valuable collection of baseball bobbleheads. Outside his apartment, his laptop is still protected, as are his bobbleheads, which he carries around with him for reasons no one knows. Renters, the limits of protection aren't just the four walls of your home. When you're in Progressive's Protection Zone, get a quote at progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers.
KSL News Time, 12:15. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
a Utah lawmaker wants to rename Harvey Milk Boulevard in Salt Lake City after Charlie Kirk, the political activist who was assassinated at Utah Valley University last fall. I'm KSL News Radio's Adam Small.
Second, Salt Lake police continue to search for the people who opened fire outside a funeral in a church parking lot last week in Salt Lake City, killing 2 and injuring others. Third, traffic and weather together, Ricky.
A good drive on the Valley freeways along the Wasatch Front. Crash up north in Brigham City. It has been blocking some lanes of travel at the intersection of Forest Street and Main Street in Box Elder County. Watch for crews still at the scene, but you can get through the area. Ricky Meeson, the KSL Traffic Center.
Strong west coast high pressure capping off the valleys. Look for inversion this week. I'm Matt Johnson.
Hazy sunshine, 36 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Time for KSL's top national stories.
From ABC News, I'm Mike Tobuski. Reaction is pouring in from lawmakers after last night's surprise announcement from Fed Chair Jerome Powell saying he's under criminal investigation by the Department of Justice. The head of America's central bank, long the subject of President Trump's ire, says he's being investigated over what he told Congress about a renovation of the Fed's headquarters. House Speaker Johnson speaking to reporters.
I have not reviewed his testimony, so I'm not sure, but that's not really my lane. We'll have to see what happens, but I was a little busy over the weekend, so I haven't seen the video.
ABC News national correspondent Stephen Portnoy with more.
The Justice Department isn't commenting on what it's investigating, but Florida Republican Congresswoman Ana Paulina Luna sent DOJ a letter last July alleging Jerome Powell had lied to the Senate, denying a VIP dining room, new marble, and special elevators were part of the renovation. Fed officials insist much of what critics have seized on in the plans has since been eliminated, and that references to executive dining rooms are descriptive labels that don't reflect how those spaces will actually be used.
In a video message, Powell says the probe is an attempt by the Trump administration to get the Fed to lower interest rates. President Trump is now set to meet with Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado this week, sources tell ABC News. It comes after the U.S. captured Venezuela's leader Nicolas Maduro earlier this month. Demonstrations cropped up in cities across the country this weekend over the death of Renee Good, who was shot and killed by a federal immigration officer last week in Minneapolis.
The federal response to this deadly ICE shooting has been met with a lot of criticism, especially among congressional Democrats who are now threatening to hold up DHS funding if there isn't a transparent investigation.
ABC's Faith Abube, Homeland Security Secretary Kirsty Noem reiterated her claim that Good is a domestic terrorist, but local lawmakers say video shows Good was simply trying to drive her car away from ICE officers when she was shot. You're listening to ABC News.
Time for the KSL In-Depth. The Washington County Sheriff's Office is opening up a 55-year-old cold case where a woman's skeletal remains were found off Gunlock Road. Host of the KSL podcast, Cold, Dave Cawley, joins me live. And Dave, thanks for spending a few minutes with us. First of all, kind of describe how they go about this. I mean, this case is 55 years old. What happens when authorities open cold cases like this?
Well, as you can imagine, Maria, when you have a criminal investigation that does not reach an end, it basically is just sitting in the files in the paper of a police agency. And in this case, it's a Jane Doe where they don't know the identity of the person who was found deceased. And so without a family member or somebody to tie this person to a crime, that case file basically just sits there until you have an investigator, a detective or somebody who takes an interest in it and goes back and reviews. And that can happen through a natural process where they just look at any unsolved cases and they, gather as a police agency to review those, or it can be just an individual, like a police officer who finds out about it and gets curious. In this instance, we're not exactly sure from what I've read how this came about, but that's typically how it would work in a police agency.
Yeah, so I'd imagine there were like thousands and thousands of cold cases. Why do authorities select certain cases to open and not others?
Well, as you can imagine, here again, we've got, all kinds of police agencies across the state. And there's a central repository at the Utah Department of Public Safety created by the legislature a few years ago to kind of collect data about all these cases. And in some cases with old ones like this, where it's 55 years old, there may not be a lot of record remaining, like paper got lost, somebody didn't write a report, and it's a real challenge for investigators. So when they're police agencies determining where to basically put their resources, a lot of it, I think, comes down to what is the likelihood that they're going to be able to make an advance in a case. A case goes cold because they've run out of leads to investigate. And what we're seeing here is that, this investigation hit a brick wall multiple times over the last 5 decades, but now somebody at this involved in this investigation thinks they have a path forward to maybe try to find these remains and get some DNA testing done.
Yeah, I was going to say, how much has new technology really changed how they decide when to open these cases?
Yeah, it's huge, Maria. So we've seen within the last number of years, obviously, the explosion of genetic genealogy, where if you can get a DNA sample and compare it to a database that has, familial DNA, people have uploaded their DNA to some of these databases. They've opted into having their profiles used for this kind of work. A police department might be able to find a relative just based on a near but not exact DNA match. And that new technology is always changing. It's always opening up new opportunities for police to close some of these cold cases.
All right, Dave, thanks for being with me.
You bet. Thanks, Maria.
That is the host of KSL Podcast Cold, Dave Cawley, joining us live. Let's take a look at traffic and weather together. It's brought to you every 10 minutes on the 9s. It's brought to you this go-around by UCCU. Supercharge your savings at uccu.com. Here's Ricky Meese.
Good speeds on all the Valley freeways and our main secondaries, but we do have a closure in place now on Highway 189 Provo Canyon. This is on the Wasatch County side near Deer Creek. And this closure is going to last for almost an hour. They're hoping to have it reopened sometime between 12:45 and 1 o'clock. It closed at 12 p.m. And it's closed both directions between the Wallsburg turnoff to SR 113 in Charleston. And this is going to continue Monday through Thursday until February. And they're doing this for safe blasting and excavating in Provo Canyon to widen the road. So if you have to travel between Provo and Heber, you either want to plan around these closures or find an alternate route or delay your travel time. But if you're traveling I-15 right now, you're good to go both directions between Provo and Ogden. The Good Feet store, supporting you with comfort no matter what the day brings. Find the location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast. It is haze day after day. I got a high of 39 today, hazy, mostly sunny. Orange air quality likely, partly cloudy by Tuesday, 39. 39 again, locked in on Wednesday, mostly sunny, hazy. Keeping that nasty air in play on Thursday, 40 degrees, mostly sunny. By Friday, there's a slight chance we can mix things out. Passing storm to our east could mix us out a little bit, 41 the high. We'll go to 43, mostly sunny on Saturday. Sunday, 43 again, mostly clear. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Hazy sunshine in downtown Salt Lake City and 36 degrees. And the 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. Quick check of the markets starting off the week in positive fashion. Complete update of your money news is coming up next.
Hi, it's Julie. January is normally a winter wonderland in Logan, but instead we're wondering about winter altogether. Ugh, this weather. It's easy to get stuck in a rut this time of year, so get in your car and escape to Logan for a refreshing change of pace. Get a hotel, swim in the pool, and check out great restaurants that are new to you. Catch Aggie basketball, gymnastics, or hockey, and especially Aggie ice cream. Bull Tracks is my personal favorite, in case you were wondering. Take in a live performance or see a classic flick at the Utah Theater. Throw hatchets, go bowling, or ice skate outdoors. Ski the Beeve and check out their new lodge, or rent snowmobiles in Logan Canyon. Enjoy a sleigh ride through a giant herd of elk. I don't really know if you should pack winter boots or galoshes and an umbrella, but either way, your Logan stay will be packed with fun, great food, and beautiful scenery. Just get here. Check out explorelogan.com/winter, explorelogan.com/winter, explorelogan.com/winter.
My friend Joey loves to use old familiar sayings.
You know what they say?
The problem is,
Don't look at a gift horse, cause you can't make them drink.
He gets a lot of them mixed up.
People who live in glass houses,
here it comes,
shouldn't cry over spilt milk.
There are also a lot of sayings in the financial world, like, you'll pay lower taxes in retirement. But for many people, it's just not true. You may have done a great job saving in that 401k or IRA, but Uncle Sam is ready to grab a big portion of that money. The team at Galileo Wealth Management can help with strategies that you can start now to lower your tax bill in the future. More for you and less for Uncle Sam.
Or as they say, an apple a day is worth two in the bush.
Get the facts on your tax bill in retirement. Call Galileo Wealth today at 385-247-7000. It's 385-247-7000 or online at GalileoWealth.com.
And remember, a stitch in time keeps the doctor away. Does, you know.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You need someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now you can meet them fast on ZipRecruiter.
Build your team, build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
Watching Utah's money, Costco is delving into the housing market. Fox Business reports the company is planning to open some affordable housing above a warehouse in Los Angeles. Officials say it will also ease congestion and encourage shopping. Jersey Mike's is expanding to Europe. The first store to open in the continent is set for this year. CNBC reports there will eventually be about 400 stores to be opened in the UK and Ireland. Google is teaming up with Walmart, Shopify, Wayfair, and other retailers to expand its AI shopping feature. It will now allow shoppers to make purchases without leaving the Gemini tool. OpenAI announced a similar deal with Walmart last year. And taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow now up by just a fraction, is pretty flat today, sitting at 49,505. S&P 500 up by 13. The NASDAQ up 0.5%, up 115 points.
Don't miss the winter sale going on now at Dave's Bernina in Provo and St. George, featuring incredible pricing on new Bernina demo machines and floor models that come with full 5-year warranties and free classes.
Save hundreds to thousands of dollars on all new Bernina machines.
Such as the next generation Bernina 325 model, $999. The Bernina 480 is only $2,499.
Even the most advanced sewing machine in the world, the Bernina 990, is on sale.
And 1.9% interest for up to 48 months on certain machines.
Dave's Bernina just received a limited amount of school buybacks in excellent condition.
Also, customer trade-ins.
Both come with 2-year warranties.
Take advantage of 25% off on all Bernina cabinets and furniture.
Dave's Bernina, 691 East St. George Boulevard and 2017 North 550 West in Provo. Dave'sBernina.com.
This week's movie show brought to you by Sound Sleep. Get a free sleep screening and a free sleep consultation by tuning in on Friday morning. Sound Sleep with 7 locations in Utah. Traffic and weather brought to you by UCCU. Transfer savings, earn more. UCCU, love where you bank. Here's Ricky Meese.
They are allowing some traffic to go through once again. Highway 189, Provo Canyon. This is on the Wasatch County side of things near Deer Creek. And this is where they're going to be doing some blasting and road work to widen that road. And closures are expected from now through February, about the same time every day. Keep that in mind if you're traveling between Wasatch County and Utah County. Here in the valley, though, freeway traffic rolling along and looking good with no other problems. Supercharge your savings with UCCU's High Yield Savings Certificate. The more you deposit, the more you earn. Visit UCCU.com, select a high yield savings option, and earn more. UCCU, love where you bank. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
High pressure in January does spell inversion. Look for a high of 39 today, mostly sunny skies and hazy. Overnight, haze, 24 the low. We'll bounce back to 39 tomorrow, partly cloudy with moderate to unhealthy for sensitive groups type air. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Hazy sunshine, 37 degrees downtown.
You're listening to Midday with Maria Shilaos
on KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good afternoon. KSL News Time 1230. KSL's top story this hour. There's a new proposal on the table to do away with what people think of as common law marriages. KSL News Radio's Heather Peterson is live to explain. Heather?
Maria, Utah doesn't legally have common law marriages, but currently there's a way to have a court-recognized union that's not actually getting married. It's a way to legitimize a long-term relationship in case of splitting up assets in a breakup or if someone passes away.
They have this incentive to try to prove, well, we weren't married for 12 years, but we were together for 12 years. So it does create some ambiguity and some uncertainty into a divorce proceeding, and often you'll have to go to trial to get that resolved.
State Senator Todd Weiler told Inside Sources he wants to do away with that, so the only way to be recognized as married is to get married. The bill he's putting forth proposes that unless a couple gets their official court or administrative marriage paperwork before May 6th, the marriage is invalid. Reporting live, Heather Peterson, KSL News Radio.
Wyoming liquor stores are trying to get the word out. If you are banned from buying alcohol in Utah, don't expect to buy alcohol by crossing the border.
A new Utah law bans people with extreme DUI convictions from buying alcohol, and that ban will be printed right on your driver license. To be considered extreme, a person was driving with a blood alcohol content of 0.16 or higher, or they were driving above the legal limit combined with other controlled substances. The Cowboy State Daily spoke with liquor stores along the Utah-Wyoming border. They all said if a Utah license says no alcohol sales, they'll enforce it. Technically, the Wyoming stores don't have to, but they tell the paper they don't want to do anything that might put their liquor licenses at risk. Randall Jepson, KSL News Radio.
Joel Army Depot is letting people know that they will be conducting outdoor operations on the North Area Test Range today. Now, that means people may hear booms or see smoke coming from the range. Utah could experience significantly more fires in the next few decades. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis has more.
New research from Utah State University shows the acreage of land burned by fire could increase by 60%. Wildland Resource Professor Jim Lutz says they started this project to get better data on fires in Utah and using climate data that's easy to keep track of.
This research is showing that risk is not going to go away. Risk is going to increase at a slow rate. So if people know about the risks, they can take action for their families and their property.
Lutz says recent bills addressing home insurance are a good start, but it's important for the state to stay up to date in wildfire training. Brianna Willis, KSL News Radio.
KSL's top national stories. President Trump will be in a meeting tomorrow to discuss a possible response to Iranian protesters. More now from ABC's Karen Travers.
The president's made it very clear, speaking to reporters last night on Air Force One, that a military action is possible as one of those options. He said last night, we're looking at some very strong options. We'll make a determination. Now, the New York Times has reported that the president has already been briefed on some of those options, but has just not yet made a decision.
Pro-government protesters have been countering the large-scale anti-government rallies. Nearly 550 people have died in demonstrations in Iran so far. President Trump met with American oil executives, hoping to strike a deal to take control of the Venezuelan industry. ABC senior White House correspondent Selena Wang explains.
A senior U.S. official tells me the U.S. is considering lifting sanctions on Venezuela as soon as next week to facilitate oil sales. This comes as President Trump is trying to convince oil companies to invest billions to rebuild Venezuela's energy industry.
President Trump will meet with Venezuelan leader Maria Machado later this week to discuss the future of the country. Other national stories KSL is following. We are learning more about the Border Patrol shooting of 2 people in Portland, Oregon.
In a federal complaint now unsealed, prosecutors allege Luis Nino Moncada in the country illegally was driving a woman who was a target of a traffic stop. The woman is allegedly a Venezuelan national involved with a Tren de Aragua prostitution ring and was allegedly involved in a shooting last summer. Nino Moncada allegedly rammed his pickup truck repeatedly into a Border Patrol vehicle, and one agent, prosecutors say, fearing for human life, opened fire. Nino Moncada and the woman were hit and later called 911 for medical aid. Both are now recovering from their gunshot wounds. Alex Stone, EBC News.
Thousands of protesters took to the streets across the country this weekend to speak out against ICE. It's driven by the outrage over the shooting death of Renee Good in Minneapolis. More from ABC's Faith Abube.
Over the weekend, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem doubling down on her position that the shooting was justified, accusing the deceased woman of domestic terrorism and claiming she tried to run over the agent with her vehicle. But the video shows her turning away. Minnesota officials say DHS has blocked them from accessing any evidence for a state-level investigation.
Noem says even more federal immigration agents are now headed to Minneapolis. First look traffic. What's going on, Ricky?
We do have a new accident. It's in Davis County, northbound I-15 after 7th South Clearfield, blocking a left lane. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL News Time, 1236.
Hi, this is Derek Overstreet, president of the New Millennium Group and co-host of Stop Working, Start Living with KSL News Radio. Can you imagine what your life would be like if you could retire 3 to 5 years earlier than you thought possible? The things you could do, the loved ones you could spend time with, the memories that you could create. That's what our team at the New Millennium Group does. We'll walk you through the entire process every step of the way. If you'd like to get a copy of the 5-step proprietary plan that will help you retire 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible, give us a shout right now. 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com. Listen, most of our listeners right now have a tax problem, not a money problem. There's not enough money in Social Security Medicare as it is. Let us show you how you can significantly reduce your taxes. That's 888-999-6370, 888-999-6370, or utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Jane Dawson did something smart. She saved hundreds on auto insurance switching to Progressive. With the money she saved, she got herself a pricey bird feeder with an ultra-high-def camera. Should Jane have just bought a regular bird feeder? Yes. Is it hard for her to admire nature when the camera doubles as the bird's potty? Also, yes. But it's Jane's savings, and if she wants to spend her time watching the digestive habits of the white-breasted nuthatch, we say you go, girl. Switch and see if you could save with Progressive and treat yourself. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime.
Our entry-level data plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
Thank you for joining us for Midday, recapping our top story. A new bill is proposing that the only way to have a valid marriage in Utah is to actually get married, doing away with common law marriages. KSL News Time, 1238. Earlier this month, we brought you the story of a woman whose ski boot was caught in the door of a gondola at Park City Resort, and she was dragged about 50 feet, hanging on the outside of the door. The Utah Passenger Ropeway Safety Committee did an investigation into the incident and concluded that there were no errors in the function and operation of the gondola. However, they are still looking into the operation practices to see if there are areas that need improvement. 2 Olympians made appearances at the Maverick Center on Saturday. KSL News Radio's Britt Johnson has more.
It was the Sprouts Farmers Market Collegiate Quad Gymnastics meet, hosting 8 of the top college gymnastics teams, including the University of Utah. And the crowd knew they'd see one Olympian, Jordan Childs, competing for UCLA. But there was an extra surprise with Olympic gymnast Lori Hernandez showing up for a meet and greet.
Hernandez met 100 local youth gymnasts and did a book signing for them. And of course, the Winter Olympics are coming up next month. We are sending a team to Milan, and we will be covering the games here on Utah's home for the Winter Olympics. KSL Sports, BYU and Utah rivalry basketball game lived up to the hype. The Utes jumped out to an early lead Saturday night, but BYU fought back and eventually pulled off the win. BYU coach Kevin Young says the rivalry game is special.
I pulled Rob, Moo, and AJ aside separately and just kind of whispered to them, hey, I know you guys probably didn't grow up hating Utah or having a rivalry, but this game means a ton to our university. It means a ton for Richie, and we want to send him out with the win, and that was really cool to see those guys step up in moments along with Kayla and Richie.
Round 2 of the rivalry game takes place in Provo on Saturday, January 24th. Utah next plays at Texas Tech on Wednesday. BYU hosts TCU in the Marriott Center late Wednesday night, and the tip is at 9. Our pregame starts at 8. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by UCCU. Supercharge your savings at uccu.com. Here's Ricky Meese.
Well, traffic is moving once again. Highway 189, both directions near Deer Creek, going between Wasatch and Utah counties in Provo Canyon. But again, that closure is scheduled Monday through Thursday through February for road work in the area. Now, here a little closer to home, Salt Lake County freeways are looking good, but northbound I-15 in Davis County, we do have a crash as you're passing 7th South Clearfield. The left lane is blocked, and we are starting to see some backup in the area. The problem with this crash, multiple vehicles involved, and it looks like maybe a trailer or something being hauled has come unhitched in some parts of it. So even though tow trucks are already at the scene, it still may take a little bit for this to clear out. So anticipate an extra, about 10 minutes to get through the area, and then you should be fine after that to continue all the way through Weber County. 3-time Tony Award winner Patti LuPone celebrates the 25th anniversary of her acclaimed concert, Matters of the Heart, featuring love songs from Broadway classics to hits by today's top songwriters. One night only. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Air quality remains top of mind as we head into this week. Mostly sunny skies today with hazy conditions at the valley floor, high of only 39. Overnight, 24 degrees. We'll go to partly cloudy skies tomorrow with a high of 39, but air quality continues to dip off into the orange. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And right now in downtown Salt Lake City, hazy sunshine and 37 degrees. And still to come on Midday with Maria Shilaos. We'll take a look at the University of Utah's new public safety framework with former FBI agent Greg Rogers. That's coming up, streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
When you need a new water heater, you need it right now.
Yep, can't wait on that.
When you need a new furnace or a new air conditioner come the summertime, you need it right now. So Superior Water and Air has a wonderful program where they can help you with financing. If you need it, get it today and pay it off when you get your tax refund or just over time.
And that's one of the great things is they have multiple financing options. It's not just one, okay, you've got to do it this way. It's, you can wait till just after your tax refund. Well, what if you need no payments until later in the year?
Yeah.
They can work with you like that because, look, they want to help you get you back on your feet with the thing that doesn't work that you got to use.
Yeah.
And they'll just work with your situation. What a great way to do it.
I loved introducing you to my friends at Superior because they're just great people. And when you invite somebody into your home, you want to feel good about them.
Yeah, and they're so customer-centric. That was what really impressed me was they wanted to work with me and my family, whatever needs we might have.
Right. They want your home to be safe and clean. Superior Water and Air. Here's the number, 801-872-8483, or go to superiorwaterandair.com.
Hi, I'm Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, America's largest family law firm. During this time of year, difficult relationships sometimes become impossible. If you or someone you care about is facing a family law issue, let us set up a 1-hour Cordell Consult. The Cordell Consult is a meeting with a local attorney who will give you clear guidance about your options, whether it's a separation, a postnuptial agreement, divorce, or custody. Take the first step. Visit CordellCordell.com. That's CordellCordell.com.
Women go through many changes in their lives. And we believe each milestone matters. That every new candle represents another step in your story. Our healthcare experts support women at every stage of life. Because each chapter deserves to be celebrated. Women's health. Nurture what's next. Find care near you at mountain.commonspirit.org. Common Spirit Health. Human kindness lives here.
Start your new year in a new ride. Performance Automotive in Bountiful is wrapping up the year with deals you just can't miss. Looking for a rugged Ford, a reliable Toyota, or a stylish Honda? Score incredible savings and financing options that fit your budget. But hurry, these end-of-year deals won't last. Come in for a test drive at Performance Ford, Performance Toyota, and Performance Honda, or online at performancebountiful.com. Performance Automotive in Bountiful, driven to be the best.
KSL News Time, 1245. The 3 things you need to know this hour. First,
Wyoming liquor stores say if you've been banned from buying alcohol in Utah, don't expect to cross the border and get your booze there. I'm KSL News Radio's Randall Jepson.
Second, the Department of Natural Resources is looking for a driver suspected of purposely hitting a deer in Rich County. Third, traffic and weather together, Ricky.
Left lanes blocked northbound I-15 in Davis County due to a crash in Clearfield. As you're passing 7th South, officers are putting up another lane restriction. So 2 left lanes are currently blocked. Expect to see delays building. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Air quality continues to decline, but temperatures not far from normal. I'm Matt Johnson.
Hazy sunshine and 37 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Time now for KSL's top national stories.
ABC News, I'm Mike Tobuski. The major stock indices are back to trading in the green this afternoon following a rocky morning as investors reacted to the news that Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell is under criminal investigation by the Justice Department.
In a rare public statement Sunday night, Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell confirming the Fed was served grand jury subpoenas as part of a probe into his testimony about the central bank's building renovation costs. But Powell says what the investigation is really about is retribution.
The threat of criminal charges is a consequence of the Federal Reserve setting interest rates based on our best assessment of what will serve the public.
Since he took office, President Trump has repeatedly demanded the Federal Reserve slash interest rates.
ABC's Elizabeth Schulze. Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado will meet with President Trump at the White House later this week, administration officials confirm. This is ABC News.
Time now for the KSL In-Depth. University of Utah is updating its public safety guidelines. It includes updating staff and students about different safety processes, aligning emergency response protocols with the K-12 system, and enhancing campus alert systems. Now, it comes after increased security concerns at colleges driven by the shooting death of political activist Charlie Kirk. Former FBI agent Greg Rogers joins me live. Thanks for being with me, Greg.
You bet. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Talk about this update. Kind of tell us, do you think this was a good thing? Or do you still have some concerns about these protocols?
I still have some concerns. I mean, any training, at the risk of not sounding too cynical, any training is good. Unfortunately, I looked through this public safety framework this morning, and it's written by academics and includes things like 5 pillars and 20 priority action areas, and it's basically videos that you watch. I don't think that kind of training is highly effective. It's practical exercises, things like that are much more directed at showing staff and students what they need to do in an active shooting incident. I think much better placed.
So when we look at aligning emergency response protocols with the K-12 system, this is something that hasn't been done before. I was a little confused about that.
Yeah, and again, they are that's one of the things that I find a bit strange about the proposal, because you're talking about radically different institutions. I mean, a high school is often a set of just a few buildings on a small in a small area, can much more easily be defended than a large university campus. I mean, you're talking about radically different protocols that are needed to defend a university campus versus a school, especially an elementary school. Elementary schools are often one building, and those are very different things.
So when you look at these protocols, when it talks about enhancing campus alert systems, what do you see there?
No, that's great, and I think that's good, and coming up with a better system to let students know what's going on and give them the opportunity to what we call hunker down, meaning to lock doors, get in a safe room, all those sorts of things. That's great, and the campus alert systems have been very inadequate, so enhancing those, I think, is a really good idea, and quite frankly, not that complicated.
Yeah, what would you like to see to improve all of this? Sounds like you are mainly concerned about the training that they've put up, but what would you like to see improved?
Right. I would like to see much more practical training. I participated in a number of practical trainings at high schools and actually airport facilities. I just think it's much more effective. It leaves a better impression on the people that you're dealing with. And I know on a university campus, when you're talking about tens of thousands of students, that's difficult. But, you could make it part of freshman orientation even. But just something practical to have actual law enforcement people there explaining to them what they need to do, in different scenarios like an active shooter or something like that. I think it's much more helpful than just asking them to voluntarily watch videos.
All right, Greg, appreciate your time. Thanks so much for joining me.
You bet. My pleasure.
Live on the KSL Newsline, that is former FBI agent Greg Rogers talking about some new protocols put in place at the University of Utah. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by UCCU. Transfer savings, earn more. UCCU, love where you bank. Ricky?
We are going to bump this up to emergency traffic now that we have two left lanes of travel blocked on northbound I-15 due to a crash as you're passing 7th South Clearfield SR 193. With those two lanes blocked, we now have traffic at a crawl back to Antelope Drive in Layton. That may not seem like it's that far back. However, it's going to take a while for these delays to clear out since you only have two right lanes of the freeway open for all traffic to squeeze through. So plan on 15 to maybe 20 minutes of possible delays if you're in the far back up. Salt Lake County freeways not bad at all, moving along just fine with no other problems reported. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast. I got haze dialed up today with a high of 39, mostly sunny skies. High pressure continues to dominate the west on Tuesday, partly cloudy, hazy, and 39. We continue to see air quality decline on Wednesday, 39. Your haze is in there on Thursday, 40 degrees. Into Friday, there is a slight chance that an upper level low to our east could help to send enough wind to mix things out. 41 the high there. We'll go to 43 on Saturday. Sunday, 43, mostly sunny. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Hazy sunshine, 37 degrees downtown Salt Lake City, and the 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. And a quick check of the markets. Dow and S&P moving up even more. They had been kind of flat, now moving up. Complete update of your money news is coming up next.
The Salt Lake Chamber is Utah's voice for business. Okay, that sounds great, but what does it really mean? Well, as Utah's largest and longest-standing business association, they support and champion community prosperity throughout the state. And if you're in business, well, that's a very good thing for you. Be sure to listen to the Chamber's Speaking on Business, weekdays at 7:20, 11:55, and 5:20 p.m. on KSL News Radio.
Over the years, you've brought them into your home. You were prescribed opioids after the C-section and after Dad's back injury. They helped when you were in pain, and you held on to them just in case. But did you know holding on to unused opioids puts your family at risk? Trouble with opioids can start at home with unused medicines such as pills, patches, and syrups. You can remove the risk and protect your family. Find out how at www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
KSL News Time 1254. A group of Buddhist monks and their rescue dog are walking the country roads of the South, inspiring locals along the way. Here's ABC's Wayne Cabot.
The meditative tradition is common in South Asian countries, but in the U.S. South, it's something new.
It's a teaching moment for, as a mother, I want my kids to see this.
People joining them in Columbia, South Carolina.
I have been following them since they started in Fort Worth, Texas.
Their walk began in October.
Well, they're walking for peace. I just feel like that's something that the world needs right now.
They plan to arrive at the nation's capital around Valentine's Day. They're hoping to get the Congress to recognize Buddha's day of birth and enlightenment as a federal holiday. Wayne Cabot, ABC News.
Watching Utah's money, almost half of Americans move to a new home when they retire, and some states are better options than others. USA Today reports Social Security goes the furthest in Kansas, covering 45% of living expenses for seniors. It covers the least in Hawaii. IMAX's stock jumped 44% last year. CNBC reports the movie theater has made record revenue with $1.28 billion globally. That's 40% more than in 2024. Allegiant Airlines is growing. The Wall Street Journal says it's set to buy Sun Country Airlines for $1.1 billion. The airlines have been able to deal with recent airline troubles by limiting when and where they fly, as well as chartering and shipping for Amazon. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow up by 62 points, sitting at 49,566. S&P up by 18. The Nasdaq, it's up 0.5%, sitting at or up by 125 points. And Target says it's expanding around the U.S. and is going to build 3 new stores in Utah. Company's website lists new stores in Harriman on Town Commons Drive, in Lehigh on North Center Street just off the Timpanogos Highway, and the third will be on Main Street in Logan.
I'm Jordan Wilcox, your Utah tax attorney. When life gets overwhelming, some things tend to fall by the side.
I'm Carlos Sanchez from Draper, Utah. I was managing a business, helping out a business, doing paperwork and getting paid, and my wife got sick. We filed taxes, but then we got audited. And when I went and talked to the IRS, they didn't give me any choice. The IRS pretty much said, this is what you owe us, when are you gonna pay us? And we're talking quite a bit. But every time I drive, I listen to the radio. Jordan Wilcox, Jordan Wilcox. So I figure there's a reason this guy's on the radio. So I called him.
Put an end to IRS collection and aggression today.
The amount that the IRS came up with, close to $250,000, and the offer in compromise was about $7,600. That's it.
This is Utah tax attorney Jordan Wilcox. Let's solve your IRS nightmare. Visit endtaxworry.com.
Go for it. The outcome, it was worth it. I'm okay.
endtaxworry.com.
I love a day on the water with friends, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis sometimes holds me back. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi. Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy.
Teaching music is my passion, but my active psoriatic arthritis can limit me at times. Now I'm treating my joint symptoms with Skyrizi.
With Skyrizi, most people with plaque psoriasis saw 90% clearer skin at 4 months.
Or if you are an adult with active psoriatic arthritis, Skyrizi helps you move with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
There's nothing like clearer skin.
There's nothing like better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi. Visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
KSL Broadcast Group contests are open to participants 18 years of age and older that are residents of Utah, unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest may not enter. Persons who have won in the last 30, 60, or 90 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available at kslnewsradio.com/contests.
Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by UCCU. Supercharger savings at uccu.com. Ricky?
We do have delays that are pretty nasty in Davis County. It's due to an accident northbound I-15 after you've passed 7th South SR 193 in Clearfield. 2 left lanes of travel remain blocked, and that's stacking traffic to Antelope Drive and almost passing it. Also, in Salt Lake County, we do have an accident. It is blocking a left lane of traffic on the ramp from the 21st South Freeway to go northbound on I-15. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
It's not going to get much warmer today, but we will be back up into the 40s by the weekend, and it looks like no chance of rain for the week. Right now, sunny and 37 degrees downtown.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
In Salt Lake City, the battle over who gets to name streets coming to a head on Utah's Capitol Hill. State lawmakers looking to change Harvey Milk Boulevard to Charlie Kirk Boulevard.
And I thought, what a better way to do it from someone who has zero ties to Utah, who I believe was actually a bad person, to Charlie Kirk.
But city lawmakers oppose the move.
This is just another distraction to keep us away from asking of the state and of these representatives to do their job.
The time is 1 o'clock on Monday. It's midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Coming up, Eye on the Hill, we are taking a look at state versus local control and how that could change with the coming session. Also this hour,
he's come to price controls. What he's talking about is controlling the price of credit.
President Trump pushing for a cap to credit card interest rates. What could that do to your personal finances and the overall economy? Answers and analysis coming up shortly. But first, our top stories. A Utah lawmaker wants to rename Harvey Milk Boulevard in Salt Lake City after Charlie Kirk.
He was a kind man. He was a good Christian-going man. He actually lived what he preached, which I find very hard. It's very hard to find in this day and age, and Charlie was the best of us.
Representative Trevor Lee is running a bill that would rename 900 South Charlie Kirk Boulevard. Lee says he wants to rename this specific road because it runs through the heart of Salt Lake City and because Milk had no ties to Utah. He also said the road has changed names in the past. Lawmakers are set to debate and vote on Lee's proposal in the upcoming legislative session. Our top national story from ABC News. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell says he is the target of a criminal probe related to what he told Congress about a renovation of the Fed's headquarters. In a video statement, Powell claims the investigation is about President Trump's pressure campaign to undermine the Fed's independence and to lower interest rates. ABC News White House correspondent Karen Travers has the latest.
The White House said Monday that President Trump did not direct the Justice Department to open an investigation into Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt was asked if she could reassure Americans that the president's longstanding criticism of Powell had nothing to do with the investigation. She said,
"The president has every right to criticize the Fed chair. He has a First Amendment right, just like all of you do. And one thing for sure, the president's made it quite clear, is Jerome Powell is bad at his job."
Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow is up by 71 points, sitting at 49,575. S&P up by 19. The NASDAQ up by more than 0.5%, up 130 points. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by UCCU. Transfer savings, earn more. UCCU, love where you bank. Here's Ricky Meese.
2 left lanes of traffic still blocked in Davis County due to a crash on northbound I-15 as you're passing SR 193's junction. That's 7th South Clearfield. When you're past that, you're good to go. But right now, traffic is at a crawl passing Antelope Drive in Layton. We also have the ramp temporarily blocked, the ramp from eastbound SR 201 to go northbound on I-15 with a crash. A tow truck is trying to get it moved out of that left lane of traffic and open up that ramp. Bad weather and parking lots love Go Pave Utah. Go Pave Utah loves snow. Don't wait for bad weather. Schedule your snow snow removal service with GoPave Utah. Visit GoPaveUtah.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Taking a look at the forecast for the Wasatch Front, a high today of 39, not much warmer than we're at right now. On Thursday up to 40, then 43 degrees for the weekend. Right now, sunny and 37 degrees at KSL Broadcast House.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
You gave years, maybe decades to your job. You showed up, worked hard, and planned for retirement. But now, the company's changed. Or maybe you've taken a buyout or been forced into early retirement. So, what happens next? I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. And if you've built up a 401k or thrift savings plan, now is the time to ask, is that money really working for you? Many workplace retirement plans offer limited options and even less guidance. At Trajan Wealth, we help people just like you roll over their accounts into IRAs with more flexibility and personalized investment strategies built around your goals. For households with $500,000 or more, let us build you a personalized plan. We operate on veteran values, service, trust, and doing what's right. Your next chapter starts now. Call Trajan today. 801-207-9900. That's 801-207-9900.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. See website for details.
Hi, this is Doug Wright, and for years I've been telling you about products I truly believe in and that we use in our home. And one is Kinetico. We all know the downsides of hard water, tough on home appliances, frustrating spots on shower doors, but it also affects your personality. When you shower, does the water feel invigorating? Hard water can leave your skin feeling sticky and itchy. A Kinetico soft water system changes everything. It's like having a luxurious spa experience when you shower, making your daily routine something you look forward to. Kinetico, it's a difference you can feel. Their patented system uses far less salt than competitors, and they're exclusively focused on water softeners. They're the experts in their field, and they'll show you the difference for free with no obligation to buy. Call Kinetico Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake, an authorized independent dealer, at 801-576-8600, or check them out online at softwaterutah.com. Start enjoying your water. Spoil yourself every day.
Thanks for tuning into Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. State versus local control. It's become a focus over the years during the Utah legislative session. And with just a week to go, until the 2026 session rings in, it looks like the issue will resurface again. Eye on the Hill, we have special coverage of the upcoming session. We begin with a proposal to rename one of Salt Lake City's streets after murdered political influencer Charlie Kirk. State Representative Trevor Lee proposing that the current 900 South in Salt Lake, known as Harvey Milk Boulevard, be renamed after Kirk, who was shot and killed here in Utah last September. Milk was a prominent member and activist for the LGBTQ community. He was a member of the San Francisco City Council and was assassinated in 1978. Representative Lee telling KSL News Radio's Adam Small that Charlie Kirk deserves to have a memorial.
Well, Charlie was an icon, an advocate for free speech, as you know. I mean, he wanted to have civil dialogue. He wanted to interact with those who disagreed with each other. In fact, in my opinion, he was the definition of how you can disagree better with someone and still, be friends at the end of the day, or what I would call someone trying to come to common ground, or peacemakers with some of the ridiculous polarization that we have in this day and age. And Charlie Kirk was the best of that. He was a kind man. He was a good Christian going man. He actually lived what he preached, which I find very hard. It's very hard to find in this day and age. And Charlie was the best of us. And it's extremely sad that it happened to be here in our state on one of our campuses that he was assassinated. And not a better way to memorialize him than to name a street after him in our state. And I think it's something to hopefully always remember him by, and everyone can realize the great impact that Charlie had. And I mean, in fact, it was so big, he had a larger memorial service than past presidents who had died, which to me is extraordinary to see how big and wide of an impact he had. And I just think that it's a great way that the state of Utah can honor him with having such a horrific thing happen in our state for him.
But why rename Harvey Milk Boulevard in Salt Lake City as opposed to a road closer to Utah Valley University where Kirk was killed? Representative Lee says there are a few reasons.
Number one, it's the heart of Salt Lake City. It's the heart of our state, right? It's in the middle of it. So I feel like it's a good representation of, everywhere people come to Utah, Charlie Kirk Boulevard. It's a very prominent street. It's also been a street that they've already changed the name on it before, right? It's not like I'm taking a new street and changing the name of it, but it's something that's already been changed in the past. And I thought, what a better way to do it from someone who has zero ties to Utah, who I believe was actually a bad person, to Charlie Kirk. And we can change what I think is an embarrassment from Harvey Milk Boulevard to someone who was a really good person in Charlie Kirk in our state.
The city added an honorary title to a portion of 900 South in 2016, opting to have it alternatively known as Harvey Milk Boulevard. A representative for Mayor Aaron Mendenhall's office tells KSL they adamantly oppose the bill, saying it erodes local control. If the city chose to rename a different street from after Milk, Lee says,
I mean, they can do what they want. I mean, that's the whole, obviously, the idea of local control there. In this instance, that for me is the perfect street to name after Charlie Kirk right now in this moment.
The bill would also limit a municipality's jurisdiction and control of a Class C road, allowing the legislature to step in and make a special designation of or name a Class C road. Representative Lee says the state already has the authority to rename the street if they see fit. He tells KSL his bill would reaffirm the authority that the state already has. How are local businesses on 900 South Harvey Milk Boulevard responding to this proposal? Well, many aren't happy. In fact, several businesses have started a petition hoping to keep the state from renaming the road. For that perspective, let's bring in KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera, who spent the weekend chatting with a few business owners and some city council members. And Eric, what have you heard from them?
Maria, I got actually tipped off to the story by a video on Instagram, a video that's been gaining major traction over the last few days. And by the time Maddie Nilsson posted that video, she says she'd already been sitting on a lot of frustration. Nilsson owns Salt Lake Pottery Studio and the Art Cafe on 9th South, also known as Harvey Milk Boulevard. She says it was her landlord who gave her a heads up on the bill.
The reason why I posted was because one of my landlords on 900 South, she sent me a text and she said, I really hope you signed this because we need to get as many signatures as possible. That just really fueled me. And I look at one of my managers at the pottery studio and I said, take my phone. I need to make a video and I need to make one right now. And I made one video and I was so just full of really just anger that our state would step into our city and try to take away our right of naming a street. And I took that video because especially 900 South, I mean, this is made up of all small businesses. I think our street has the most small businesses in one compacted street in the entire country.
Okay, so Eric, there are some business owners who are upset, but what are city leaders saying about this?
Right. Council member Eva Lopez Chavez says, for many small businesses, Harvey Milk Boulevard has become a symbol of community and stability, especially at a time when affordability and survival are already major concerns.
Harvey Milk represents every community that's ever faced adversity, starting with the very Mormon pioneers that crossed over. And I think that's what we're getting at, is this is an icon that speaks to so many communities, and it has provided a place of coalescing for the businesses of Salt Lake City. And I just want to highlight that Trevor Lee says this has no relevancy to Utah. What does have relevancy today is livable wages, the cost of living, the cost of rent for small businesses, the different struggles that we all face together. And so Harvey Milk provides us an icon to lend itself culturally, to show us to have hope, quite frankly, and symbolically represent the times of troubles that we're facing. I would ask the representative to look at that, and if he can file a bill to change the street name, I hope he can file a bill to change the minimum wage and cost of living here in Utah.
So now what? Where do they go from here?
Right. So organizers, including Nilsson and Equality Utah, say they plan to bring the petition before the Salt Lake City Council at its upcoming meeting. even though the proposal itself is moving through the state legislature. This all comes as lawmakers debate how much say the state should have over decisions traditionally made at the city level.
All right. Thank you, Eric. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera joining me. In just 60 seconds, we'll take a closer look at the debate of local versus state control and how the upcoming legislative session could impact it. Stay with us.
This is Andy Farnsworth with One Kind Act Today's Minute of Kindness, brought to you by the Semnani Family Foundation. In downtown Salt Lake City, a group of dedicated volunteers are turning worn-out bicycles into life-changing gifts. Free Bikes for Kids Utah collects used bikes every fall, then restores each one, all so children who might not otherwise have one can experience the joy when riding. President Nick Ekdahl says the mission is simple. Every kid deserves a bike. Many mechanics and volunteers spend weeks cleaning, repairing, and safety checking hundreds of bikes, prepping them for the annual giveaway day as a Christmas surprise where every child receives a fitting bike with a helmet. For volunteers like Ben, the reward is seeing kids light up as they ride for the first time, showing proof that a small act of kindness can spark big moments of happiness. How can you give back to your community during Christmas? Find out more at thepowerofkind.org. That's thepowerofkind.org.
Eye on the Hill, our special coverage continues. Before the break, we heard about a proposal to rename a city street in Salt Lake City, changing it from Harvey Milk Boulevard to Charlie Kirk Boulevard. The bill being sponsored by State Representative Trevor Lee. The proposal highlights a common theme seen during the legislative session: local versus state control. Remember, last year's session, the state put limits on the kinds of street modifications city officials could implement. The change last year came as a result of several construction projects in downtown Salt Lake, which created hassles for lawmakers trying to get to the Capitol building. Let's broaden this conversation out and talk about legislation from the state limiting local city control. And for that, I'm joined by our resident political insider and co-host of Inside Sources, Holly Richardson. And Holly, this has been going on for decades.
It sure feels like it has, and thanks for having me, Maria. But one of the things that is so interesting is that our Republican-dominated legislature, many of the people who are up there on the Hill campaign on issues about local control. Some of them also have experience of being in municipal government before they go up there, and they really see this from both sides. And so it feels like you campaign on one thing, but when you get up there, there's always something that says, well, we know better, and so we're going to take over. Particularly with Salt Lake City, there does seem to be some level of animosity between the state legislature and Salt Lake City as a whole. I think we've seen that over the last several sessions really clearly, but this could be another instance of that.
Okay, so we know that the state can override cities on a number of different things, so they have statewide control, but does that always apply to roads?
It can be applied to a lot of things. I mean, if you remember the conversations that have been occurring around affordable housing, the governor even suggested that the state legislature might do basically a statewide zoning ordinance that would override local ordinances. So it's frustrating, right, sometimes where it's like being a parent where you say, okay, you got to make your own choice, but you can't then go back and say, okay, never mind, I don't like your choice. Right. So, yeah, I mean, the state legislature does have control over some things. And as Representative Lee said, they already have some ability to change names. But this particular issue, is it really the role of state government to go in and name roads in a particular city? I would say it's probably not.
So you mentioned this underlying animosity. Is it because it's a Democratic-led city in a Republican state?
Yeah, it sure seems to be that way. And I know Mayor Mendenhall has really worked, I think, well with trying to say, look, we're trying to work with you. We know that there was pushback on how she was handling homelessness in the city, on policing, right? And so she has a new police chief, and they really, I think, keep doing a good job of trying to walk this balance of, look, we're city leaders and we should have the ability to do these things. We're also part of a state and we want to work with our state leaders, right? But I think it's better for everyone if you have policy discussions actually based on policy and not necessarily on whatever is the latest cultural issue.
I know that you've been following all the new bills that are being introduced. Do you see some other bills or a bill that shows the same kind of thing, state over local?
Yeah, there is one specifically about that zoning issue that I already mentioned, and that will be discussed as the legislature kicks off next week.
And have we heard from the mayor about how she feels about that zoning issue?
I don't have an answer for that question. I am not sure, but I have heard from other mayors, especially here down in Utah County where I live, and they are 100% adamantly opposed to the state coming in and telling them how to zone.
Okay, so it's not just a Salt Lake City issue in this particular case.
It is not.
All right, Holly. Thanks so much for being with me.
Thanks, Maria.
And that is the host of Inside Sources, Holly Richardson, joining me. President Trump is proposing a limit on credit card interest rates, capping them at 10%. We'll go in depth on the potential financial implications of such a move after the break. But first, it's traffic on KSL News Radio, and it's brought to you by UCCU. Transfer savings, earn more. UCCU, love where you bank. Ricky, we're out of emergency traffic.
We are out of emergency traffic. Now, we have residual delays in Davis County, but the good news is the crash on northbound I-15 just after 7th South Clearfield has just pulled away. All lanes are now open. The delays stretching back to Antelope Drive will clear out shortly. When you take UTA, you can do just about anything while you ride. You won't even notice all the traffic you're missing. Plan your trip at rideuta.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Is this your year to take off those extra pounds? If it is, I want to tell you about a great program. You've heard me talk about it for the last couple of years, and it's Salt Lake City Fat Loss. If you want to take advantage of this program, this is the time to do it because they've extended their New Year's sale over 20% off, but it's only going to last for a limited time. So you'll want to lock those savings in now at slcfatloss.com. Things I've loved about this program: it's all natural, burns off that stored belly fat. That means there are no side effects. They have a great app. It gives you all the resources you need to be successful. It also keeps you accountable, and you can ask them questions at any time so you don't just feel like you're out there on your own with the program. Whether you want to look better, boost your energy, fit better in your clothes, or feel more confident and healthier as you age, Salt Lake City Fat Loss works. Lock in this New Year's sale, these great savings now at slcfatloss.com, slcfatloss.com.
Happy New Year, Susan. I really appreciate you picking up the bill for lunch.
I'm happy to. One of my New Year's resolutions is being better with money. So I've started using Upside, the free app that pays you cash back for buying gas.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
Yes, I earn cash back just for buying the gas I was already buying.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make $200 to $300 this year.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now in the App Store or Google Play and start earning cash back on everyday gas purchases. Use promo code RIDER for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's up to 50 cents per gallon on your next fill up. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank account or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code RIDER for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code RIDER. Code RIDER.
Offers vary by user and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions.
Trying to make sense of the markets? Looking to diversify out of all the craziness? Thinking about tangible assets like precious metals? Listen to The Gold Show with Kenny Michaels right here on KSL at 3 p.m. Sunday afternoons. Stay up to date on retirement trends, how the IRA rollover process works, and why investors are turning to physical gold. Kenny is a national talk show host with decades of experience in the markets. Tune in for Kenny's Insights and The Gold Show this Sunday afternoon at 3.
At Uline, the prevailing opinion is if you don't live it, you don't believe it. The people at Uline believe in hard work, and they live it by being there 24/7 to answer your call, having 41,000 items in stock, and offering same-day shipping from 12 locations across North America. Business owners, sellers, buyers, shippers, and packers believe it. Uline is the hard-working, dependable source for your shipping and industrial supplies. Visit uline.com.
If you're one of the millions of Americans behind on your taxes, if you're afraid to open your mail because IRS collection letters could be coming, listen carefully. The IRS is cracking down, taking paychecks, freezing bank accounts, revoking passports. That's a fact. But here's what most people don't know. There are official tax relief programs designed to help struggling taxpayers. Programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief. Optima's award-winning team will fight to protect your paycheck, your passport, and your property. Their tax attorneys and licensed tax professionals will work tirelessly to get you the best deal possible with the IRS. Every day, penalties and interest keep piling up, so don't wait. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
You are listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. President Trump is pushing for a one-year 10% cap on credit card interest rates. The president made the announcement on Truth Social following through on an earlier campaign promise. The bottom line, this proposal could help save Americans billions of dollars, but the banking industry says the proposal would force them to reduce or eliminate credit lines, which in turn could hurt the economy. Let's go more in depth on this proposal with Bankrate senior industry analyst Ted Rossman. Thank you, Ted, for being with us.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
So help us understand kind of the pros and cons of the president's proposal.
It sounds great on the surface. The ability to substantially lower your credit card rate would save a lot of people money in theory. Right now, the average credit card charges about 20%. So if that were cut down to a maximum of 10, the interest savings could be tremendous. The problem is that there are a lot of unintended consequences. Namely, the banking industry says it just wouldn't be profitable for them to offer credit cards if the cap were just 10%. And they've already warned that a lot of people could lose access to credit. There was a study by the Electronic Payments Coalition that said that up to 90% of credit card holders could lose access to credit if this cap were enacted. So it's something that the banking industry is fighting hard.
Okay, so didn't Democrats try to do something like this in the past few years, trying to kind of rein in these credit card rates?
There have been a number of proposals, and right now we have some strange agreement among the likes of President Trump and Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. I mean, how often do they agree on things? But they're actually in favor of this 10% cap. There have been some Republican voices chiming in as well, like Senators Roger Marshall and J.D. Vance. When he was a senator, he was on board with some similar kind of topics. So there's an interesting sort of group coalescing around this. Right now, there is no federal credit card rate cap. There's a military lending cap of 36% for service members. That's kind of been unofficially extended to everybody. One potential compromise is that could become the standard for all. Now, I realize 10% and 36 are very different.
I was going to say.
But that shows how far apart the sides are on this. The banking industry is really going to fight the 10%. I suspect travel providers would as well, because airlines and hotels, they make a lot of money from these rewards programs, and they have a lot of billion-dollar partnerships with credit card companies. This is a pretty touchy subject for all of them.
In the meantime, talk to us about the overall credit card debt that's facing millions of Americans right now. I mean, how much do folks owe?
Well, this actually showcases why it's an important issue and why people are talking about it, because in total, Americans owe $1.2 trillion on their credit cards, according to the New York Fed. TransUnion says that works out to about $6,500 per credit card holder. And what we found in our survey is that about half pay in full every month, and they avoid interest, and life is great, they benefit from rewards and so on. The other half carries debt, and often for a long time. Among those with credit card debt, 61% have had it at least a year. It really does become a persistent, expensive problem, and it often has a practical cause. It's usually a medical bill, a car repair, day-to-day expenses outpacing your paycheck. It's something a lot of people are struggling with, unfortunately.
So are we unique here in Utah at all when it comes to credit card debt?
I don't have specific regional figures, but my instinct would be to say that it's not really a regional issue, that it is something that really cuts across America. And I realize that people think it would sound great to have your credit card interest rate lowered. The problem I would just warn about is access to credit, because that's where it sort of comes full circle, is that, yes, a lot of people have a lot of expensive debt, but credit cards are a lifeline for many. I mean, I know we could preach about building more savings and paying down debt, and those are all worthy goals, but sometimes life gets in the way. And a lot of people are using credit cards to bridge that gap. And whether it's buying groceries or other essentials, I just worry that if this cap were enacted, what would people turn to instead? Would they have to go without, or would they gravitate to payday loans and even more expensive alternatives? Really, the best way to use a credit card, if you can, is pay in full, or if you need more time, you can get a 0% balance transfer deal for up to 2 years. You could work with a reputable nonprofit credit counselor like Money Management International. There are some things you can do. I just don't think a federal 10% cap would meet the intended goals.
Ted, appreciate your time. Thanks for being with me.
No problem. Thank you.
Live on the KSL Newsline, that is Ted Rossman, Bankrate Senior Industry Analyst. It's 1:30 midday at KSL News Radio. I'm Maria Shilaos. Some of the stories we are watching this hour. Health Matters on Midday. We are digging into the health benefits of avoiding alcohol as part of a growing trend, Dry January. President Trump keeping all options open as government responds to weeks of anti-government protests in Iran. And KSL traffic, it's improving, huh, Ricky?
It is improving. In fact, better speeds already northbound I-15 through Clearfield. Maria?
Well, unfortunately, the air is not going to improve. We're going to be kind of stuck in this haze. It's supposed to get worse tomorrow. And it looks like our temperatures are pretty stuck as well. Right now, 37 degrees. It's 1:30.
ABC News, I'm Mike Dubusky. The White House says President Trump did not direct the Department of Justice to investigate Jerome Powell. The Federal Reserve Chair revealed he's under investigation in a surprise video message last night, claiming the Trump administration is trying to pressure him to lower interest rates. Pro-government demonstrators are out in the streets in Iran today, countering the large-scale anti-government rallies that have swept across the country in recent weeks. President Trump is now indicating the U.S. could conduct a military operation if violence continues in Iran, but that no decision has been made. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt.
Diplomacy is always the first option for the president. He's told all of you last night that what you're hearing publicly from the Iranian regime is quite differently from the messages the administration is receiving privately. And I think the president has an interest in exploring those messages.
More than 500 people have died in anti-government protests in Iran as the regime cracks down. This is ABC News.
KSL's top local story. In order to have a valid marriage, a new bill proposes that you'll have to actually get married. KSL News Radio's Heather Peterson has more.
State Senator Todd Weiler has proposed a bill that would take the ambiguity out of common law marriages.
This is the idea that even though you never got married, that the law should treat the relationship as a marriage.
Weiler tells Inside Sources that while Utah doesn't technically do common law marriages, there's such a thing as unsolemnized marriages, which means a court can recognize a long-term couple as married. This helps if they break up or if someone dies, and shared assets need to be divvied out. Weiler's bill hopes to make it so that if you haven't officially gotten married by May 6th, the relationship would have no valid legal standing. Weiler says he's already hearing there may be pushback against the bill, but he plans to push it forward at the upcoming session. Heather Peterson, KSL News Radio.
Other local stories KSL is following. Several Wyoming liquor stores are letting people know if you've been banned from buying alcohol in Utah, they won't be selling you alcohol if you cross the border. KSL News Radio's Randall Jepson has more.
Utah's law now says if you get an extreme DUI conviction for driving with the blood content of 0.16 or higher, the words "no alcohol sale," they'll be printed right on your license. The Cowboy State Daily spoke with several liquor stores in Wyoming near the Utah border. They all said they plan to enforce that ban, even though they legally don't have to.
The liquor stores told the paper they will enforce Utah's law because they take alcohol laws seriously and they don't want to do anything to put their liquor licenses in jeopardy. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow is up by 49 points, sitting at 49,553. S&P up by 13. The Nasdaq, it's up 102 points. Traffic and weather is brought to you by UCCU. Supercharger savings at uccu.com. Ricky?
We are looking good once again. Northbound I-15 through Davis County. The earlier crash and the delays it caused, all gone. But we do have a new accident, this time in West Valley, eastbound SR 201 at the ramp to go southbound on I-215's West Belt. No matter the weather, your feet can feel fantastic. Find the Good Feet location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
We will be stuck in the upper 30s for the next few days, up into the 40s by the weekend, and not a chance of rain in the forecast for the next 7 days. 37 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6681. That's 800-583-6681.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment? That's a lie. Most timeshares can be bought online for $1. To find out what your timeshare is worth and to cancel it, call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit kit free with all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley for your free exit info guide. 800-771-1300. That's 800-771-1300.
You probably know if you need new windows. You hear the wind whistling. There's condensation between the panes. Maybe your heating bill's too high, but you don't want to pull the trigger because it costs a lot of money. I understand. And they understand at Advanced Window Products. After all, they've been creating custom state-of-the-art windows right here in Salt Lake for 39 years. They know what's up. That's why they offer 60-month 0% financing or buy now, pay later. You get the windows this winter for 30 to 40% less because you're buying straight from the factory. They'll build, they'll install your windows, and you don't have to pay for a year or more. At Advanced, they're committed to making your new windows affordable. And if you call now, they'll knock another $2,500 off your quote. State-of-the-art, energy-saving windows built here for Utah's changing climate. And right now, $2,500 off. Call for a quote, 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100. Or go to advancedwindows.com.
You are listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Many Americans say enough is enough when it comes to enjoying too many sweet treats and alcoholic beverages over the holidays. Over the past decade, many people have committed to a dry January to get the new year off to a healthy start. Dr. Richard Ferguson joins us for Health Matters on Midday. He says dry January is a good time to reset your habits and to see what effect alcohol is having on your body.
You can allow yourself to see changes within a matter of days, well, sometimes hours, depending on how heavily you were drinking. But this is someone that is just doing what they call heavy social drinking on the weekends to someone that has a drink every day. We have to understand alcohol. When people really think about, whenever I think about our reasons for sometimes, narco terrorism in Venezuela and the drugs coming to our country, we have a legalized drug right now that's a toxin to our body. It's called alcohol. It's regulated by many state governments, taxed very well, but leads to more deaths than opioids do.
Yeah, before we get into kind of the changes that people see in their body within 30 days, what does this say, though? It seems to be more young people who have kind of grasped onto this. And what does this say about their attitudes toward health and lifestyle?
I think it shows that we are no longer our parents' generation. We no longer see alcohol as a way to cope. It should no longer be seen as they're no longer seen as a way to socialize. It should no longer be considered the norm, right? We have to understand we're in a nation where 60% of the nation drinks alcohol. So it is in many regards the norm. So with Gen Z and younger, of course, now sort of bucking this societal pressure.
So let's talk about the changes that people do see in this 30 days that they decide to do the dry January.
You know, the first one I always bring up is sleep. It is a respiratory depression. So your respiratory drive decreases. That's why people snore more after drinking alcohol. So someone saying, oh, I just have a little drink to wind down at night. But it's going to lead to actually more apnea, meaning more episodes where you're going to stop breathing at night because you were drinking alcohol. So if you were someone with borderline sleep apnea, always, and this worsens, of course, people's hangover, but you may feel hungover even though you might have only had one beer or one drink or one cocktail because of the apnea that was occurring that you worsened, that you already had kind of had a baseline. So the thing is, sleep improves quickly. So we have to understand that alcohol disrupts REM sleep, and it's a respiratory depressant if you have enough of it. So even in small amounts. So that's one of the first things. You start feeling more refreshed in the morning. You feel is also energy and focus increases. So as the body clears alcohol, and we have to understand it's an inflammatory agent. It causes inflammation in our body, which is why our faces will sometimes be a little bit more swollen if you're someone that's drinking regularly. So even your face will start to change and your hydration will improve because you're not taking in this late night or mid-afternoon diuretic, because you wanted to have something to do while you were watching the playoffs with your family. So hydration improves. Of course, what do we do sometimes when we have a headache? We drink some water and have a Tylenol. Well, we can reduce headaches and daytime fatigue. So daytime somnolence will improve. You'll be more energetic in the morning. You're more likely to want to hit that treadmill or go hike on the weekend or go cross-country skiing because now your energy level has increased and you're able to focus on a task more easily. The other thing I can go on and on if you're okay. Your blood pressure. You will lower blood pressure and improve your heart health or cardiac markers if you're able to abstain even for 2 weeks. So what I spoke about with sleep and inflammatory changes and daytime fatigue, that'll all change within about 3 to 7 days in your 30 days of dry January. After that, you'll have improved, of course, liver function. So if you were someone that was drinking daily or every other day, your liver begins to repair itself within 2 weeks. And then the biggest one that I think a lot of people notice, especially when I'm advising, say, someone that's a diabetic or newly diabetic, and they loved sweets and soda. In this particular case, your weight changes for many people due to just the fewer liquid calories. And then you have better insulin sensitivity. So fewer liquid calories. You have to understand an average glass of wine is anywhere between about 150 to 220 calories based on a 5-ounce pour. If you're having a 12-ounce sort of double IPA, that's like an 8% or 9% beer, that's a 500 or 600 calorie beer. So if you're drinking 2 of those in one setting, you've taken in probably half the caloric intake for an adult meal that weighs, 180 pounds. So that's just 2 beers. And now you're eating and drinking for the rest of the day. So the other thing you will tend to notice in the next few weeks is you'll have clearer skin, kind of alluded to that earlier. That facial redness and puffiness will go away. And as we were talking about right before we started this discussion, anxiety symptoms. Because of the better mental clarity, you're less anxious. Less will frazzle you. Less will upset you. And also because it's being added in by having it's mood stabilizing because now you don't have alcohol's depressing effect. Not only is it a respiratory depressant, but it's a central nervous system depressant. That all will fade as your hydration improves, you get clearer skin, you get better mental clarity, and you're no longer having episodes where you're having apnea or snoring loudly next to your partner or waking up your neighbor because you snore so loud.
Okay, now I have to ask you about the new FDA recommendations on alcohol, and what is your reaction to that?
We have to understand we came up in this time where even cardiology were saying, your 1 glass of red wine a day is good for your heart. There is no amount of alcohol that's good for your body, period. There's no good amount of beer. There's no good amount of wine. It impacts all our organs, particularly our brain and our heart. If you're someone that was struggling with blood pressure and trying to avoid being on a medication, one of the first things you could do is reduce your alcohol intake or stop altogether to see if you can avoid being on a pill for the rest of your life to avoid developing a stroke. So if anything, I see this as reduction is good.
Okay, any final thoughts for us?
When it comes to dry January, we have to understand that even short periods of abstinence lower cancer risk over time, reduce heart strain, and improve mental health and sleep patterns. So going trying to go that night or that weekend, try 3 days. You don't necessarily have to go 30 days. Dry January is not about perfection, but even a short break can give your body and your mind valuable insight, and the goal is intentional and there's no guilt associated with it. So I want everyone to maybe consider taking a day or maybe even 3 days and just sort of see how your sleep has changed, see how your face has changed, see how your body habits will start to change if you stop for 2 weeks or more. You're like, wow, I really wanted to lose those 6 or 7 pounds. All I had to do is stop having my IPA on the weekends.
Dr. Richard Ferguson is an emergency room doctor and the founder of the Black Physicians of Utah. Midday continues in just 60 seconds.
If you're one of the millions of Americans behind on your taxes, if you're afraid to open your mail because IRS collection letters could be coming, listen carefully. The IRS is cracking down, taking paychecks, freezing bank accounts, revoking passports. That's a fact. But here's what most people don't know. There are official tax relief programs designed to help struggling taxpayers. Programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief. Optima's award-winning team will fight to protect your paycheck, your passport, and your property. Their tax attorneys and licensed tax professionals will work tirelessly to get you the best deal possible with the IRS. Every day, penalties and interest keep piling up, so don't wait. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
President Trump now suggesting that military strikes could be coming to Iran. It comes following a few weeks of large-scale anti-government rallies in that country. Pro-government protests now countering those rallies. Nearly 550 people have died so far. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt answering questions on the potential for airstrikes against the Middle Eastern country.
I think one thing President Trump is very good at is always keeping all of his options on the table, and airstrikes would be one of the many, many options that are on the table for the commander-in-chief.
ABC's Selena Wang outlines the potential military action that could come to Iran on this episode of the Start Here podcast.
We have seen President Trump since the beginning of these protests sort of steadily ramp up his threats against the Iranian regime. And over the weekend, the president posted, "Iran is looking at freedom, perhaps like never before. The USA stands ready to help." Now, we're also learning from a U.S. official that the president is planning to convene a meeting on Tuesday at the White House to discuss possible responses to what's happening in Iran. The New York Times and Wall Street Journal are reporting that Trump has actually already been briefed in recent days on a range of options for military strikes in Iran, but is yet to make a final decision. Now, if we just look at what the president has said in recent days, the president has said that he's telling the Iranian leaders, quote, you better not start shooting
because we'll start shooting too.
The president also warning, we'll hit you where it hurts the most.
If they start killing people like they have in the past, we will get involved. We'll be hitting them very hard where it hurts. And that doesn't mean boots on the ground, but it means hitting them very, very hard where it hurts. So we don't want that to happen.
Now the Iranian parliament is threatening retaliation for any attack, saying they'll attack U.S. bases if provoked. So what are the risks of this escalating tension?
There are lawmakers on both sides who are warning that military action here could backfire. For instance, Democratic Senator Tim Kaine told CBS that it would be a massive mistake.
U.S. military action would just bring back the painful history of the U.S.
toppling the Iranian prime minister back in the 1950s, and would give the regime the ability to blame their own failures on the United States.
Saying right now, Iranians are blaming the regime, but then the regime could turn around if the U.S. bombs the country and point the finger at the U.S.
So let's celebrate their freedom-loving spirit. Let's keep up the sanctions pressure, which helped in Syria.
Democratic Senator Mark Warner, he spoke to Fox News, and he also warned that the U.S. might have a hard time if they decide to intervene in Iran, since a lot of the nation's stockpile right now is in Venezuela.
We've got 20% of our fleet right now off the coast of Venezuela, blockading that country. The USS Ford, which is one of our lead carriers, is supposed to be deployed to the Middle East. It's now deployed off the coast of Venezuela. And the president has said, we're going to take Venezuelan oil. It will take 2 years to rebuild the Venezuelan oil infrastructure. Is our fleet going to stay there for 2 years?
But it's not just Democrats. You also have Senator Rand Paul, a Republican from Kentucky, who's a member on the Foreign Relations Committee. And he told us at ABC that when you bomb a country, people tend to rally around their own flag.
Plus, there is this sticking point of the Constitution that we don't really let presidents bomb countries just when they feel like it. They're supposed to ask the people through the Congress for permission.
But look, you're right that this does come just months after the U.S. dropped those bunker-busting bombs in Iran. President Trump claiming that it obliterated 3 Iranian nuclear facilities. And just a couple of weeks ago, President Trump met with Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu in Mar-a-Lago in Florida. And that's when the president had a different threat for Iran, saying the U.S. will back Israeli strikes on the country if Iran rebuilds its nuclear program.
Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says the president will look at diplomatic solutions first, but is open to all potentials. After the break, a look at new research showing that women in the workplace aren't confident in their employees' ability to handle sexual harassment cases. We'll go in depth in just a few minutes, but first, it's traffic on KSL News Radio. It's brought to you by UCCU. Supercharge your savings at uccu.com. Ricky?
We do have an accident out of traffic on that transition ramp from eastbound SR 201, the 21st South Freeway, to go southbound on the West Belt. It's over to the right. And a report of an accident, State Street 6800 South. Whipple Service Champions is Utah's most trusted name for heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical services. Call 385-273-7167 for your free estimate today. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Don't miss the winter sale going on now at Dave's Bernina in Provo and St. George, featuring incredible pricing on new Bernina demo machines and floor models that come with full 5-year warranties and free classes.
Save hundreds to thousands of dollars on all new Bernina machines.
Such as the next generation Bernina 325 model, $999. The Bernina 480 is only $2,499.
Even the most advanced sewing machine in the world, the Bernina 990 is on sale.
And 1.9% interest for up to 48 months on certain machines.
Dave's Bernina just received a limited amount of school buybacks in excellent condition.
Also, customer trade-ins.
Both come with 2-year warranties.
Take advantage of 25% off on all Bernina cabinets and furniture.
Dave's Bernina, 691 East St. George Boulevard and 2017 North 550 West in Provo. Dave'sBernina.com.
Respiratory virus season is quickly approaching, meaning we'll see more flu, COVID, and RSV in our community. The good news is vaccines are available that will help prevent these infections and keep people healthy. For flu and COVID, everyone aged 6 months and older are recommended to be vaccinated to help protect ourselves and our families against serious illness. Fall remains the best time to be vaccinated. Respiratory viruses circulate year-round, but peak late fall through winter. Your doctor can recommend which vaccines are best for you and your family.
Brought to you by Intermountain Health and KSL News Radio.
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Wow, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu, an elite CompTIA certification partner.
Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits. benefits.
My doctor told me my cholesterol is borderline, so I took control with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula. Garlic helps maintain healthy cholesterol safely and naturally. It's odor and taste-free, and Garlic is a world leader in garlic potency. I'm taking charge of my cholesterol with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula, cholesterol's natural enemy.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The term natural references only the garlic in the product. Use as directed.
This is Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. A recent study found an overwhelming amount of women in Utah are not confident that their workplace would properly handle a sexual harassment report. The Utah Women in Leadership Project surveyed over 5,000 women on 4 topics: workplace culture, child care programs, gender pay gap, and sexual harassment and gender-based discrimination. Director Susan Madsen says the sexual harassment questions had the most sobering findings.
A lot of Utahns are saying no. They do not trust that their organizations or organizations with Utah, if there was a complaint with sexual harassment, there's just not trust that people will do the right thing. And I think that's sobering in a lot of ways, that there's that lack of trust. And I just hear so many stories from women themselves on sexual harassment, on bullying, on all kinds of things that really, it's profoundly negative for women's experience in the workplace. Not that men don't experience some of this, right? But we know that gender-based discrimination is really strong and a serious problem. And a lot of women are not comfortable speaking up about it, so they just keep going back or just leave quietly. And can I just say, we've got to be nicer to each other.
Dr. Madsen tells KSL News Radio's McKenna Rodriguez that we need to treat each other with respect.
People get too much power or authority. There's a tendency for many, if they have power, to misuse and treat other people poorly. And man, I mean, it's probably 1,000 stories through the years have I read and heard from our women in Utah with these things. But it's good for us to know. Honestly, we do this research to know, what do people understand? What are their opinions? What's their perspectives? And we get the results that are pretty accurate for the state of Utah with the large samples that we have. And so I would say, if we really care about people around us, we need to pay attention to these research results and then figure out, how do we change these things? How do we change them? Sometimes in the homes, but definitely in workplaces and other places, congregations and communities and so forth, so that not only do we have the resources like childcare, right, that are in place to support more families, but that when you're doing equal work and equal, all of that, you do get equal pay. People deserve to be paid for the work that they do, the great work that they do. And then what can we do better about eliminating abuse, the bullying, the sexual harassment, so that we can have more women? And when women thrive, men can thrive too. So you can lift other people and be lifted yourself, and really have more respectful workplaces so that everybody can thrive.
Around 60% of the participants said they do not have a full trust in their workplace. 43% disagreed outright that a harassment report would be properly handled, and around 20% were ambivalent. Good news for those with a passion for ice fishing. Colder temperatures mean that the lakes and reservoirs are finally freezing over. Trina Hedrick with Wildlife Resources says warm temperatures have been problematic, forcing local tournaments to be canceled. She says the ice needs to be at least 5 inches thick, and while that sounds intuitive, don't drive your vehicle onto the ice. Now, if the ice looks cloudy or layered, it could be too dangerous. She tells KSL News Radio's Tammy Kikuchi people should not stand close together in one spot on the ice as well. Now, as far as the fish go, the numbers right now look good.
Our data show that lake trout numbers are increasing.
and their growth is decreasing. And lake trout, they're a long-lived species. They reproduce for a number of years once they hit maturity, and they can survive long stretches with minimal food. So they are just really set up to do okay. I'm not going to say thrive, but to do okay in situations where maybe they're not getting enough food. And one of those situations might be the population is increasing, and so now you've got increased competition between all of these smaller fish. They can do okay with eating just minimal amounts of food and still surviving and continuing. And so, you can imagine that when you have an increasing population, there's always just a limited food supply. I mean, that's just the bottom line. We think of reservoirs as unlimited because they're so big, but there's still a finite amount of resources there for whatever species to consume and take advantage of. And that's true for lake trout too. You can imagine that if your population of this particular size is increasing, and you expect fish over a size that's actually smaller than that to start eating kokanee, right? They're going to start digging your kokanee quite a bit, and that's a very important fishery up there. So in order to, just to try and keep some kokanee for the anglers, not that we're not saying that lake trout are the only thing going on there. It's just one of the things that we need to do to try to put that fishery back into balance, right? It just recently, probably in the last, I feel like 10 years maybe, where we've really started seeing those numbers increasing, and we really need those smaller fish out of there. And it sounds like, from what the biologists are saying, we're really not even seeing fish much over 25 inches. So there's just not enough food in the system to feed all this, expanding population and to get some fish, or the same amount of fish, into that trophy size class. Really, it's a matter of trying to reduce competition so that all of the lake trout that are in there can get enough food, and we can still see trophy fish in the future.
Trina Hedrick is with Utah Wildlife Resources.
KSL-FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The Department of Justice now investigating the Federal Reserve, an agency that's supposed to be neutral. Democrats and some Republican lawmakers lambasting the administration for the investigation. The White House defending the DOJ's move.
The president has every right to criticize the Fed chair. He has a First Amendment right, just like all of you do. And one thing for sure, the president's made it quite clear, is Jerome Powell is bad at his job. As for whether or not Jerome Powell is a criminal, that's an answer the Department of Justice is going to have to find out.
The time is 2 o'clock on Monday, January 12th. It's midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Coming up, the market starting the day off in negative territory as a result of the news, but shaking off those worries by the end of the day. Also this hour, University of Utah is updating their public safety plans in the wake of the killing of political influencer Charlie Kirk. We'll get an expert's take on the proposals. But first, our top stories. A Utah lawmaker is pushing legislation to rename Harvey Milk Boulevard in Salt Lake City after Charlie Kirk, the political activist who was murdered at Utah Valley University last fall. KSL News Radio's Adam Small has more.
Representative Trevor Lees introduced a bill to remove Harvey Milk's name from 900 South and turn it into Charlie Kirk Boulevard.
It's extremely sad that it happened to be here in our state on one of our campuses that he was assassinated. And not a better way to memorialize him than name a street after him in our state.
Lee told me he has a few reasons why he wants to do this.
It's something that's already been changed in the past. And I thought, what a better way to do it from someone who has zero ties to Utah, who I believe was actually a bad person, to Charlie Kirk. And we can change what I think is an embarrassment from Harvey Milk Boulevard to someone who was a really good person in Charlie Kirk.
Lee also called 900 South the heart of Salt Lake City and that Kirk's name deserves to be seen on a prominent road. If the bill signed and passed into law, it's currently set to take effect in early May. Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
Other local stories we are following. Researchers at Utah State University have come up with a new model to predict wildfires. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis reports.
Department of Wildland Resources Professor Jim Lutz
and his team compared days when the temperature was over 80 degrees and found that it's a reliable predictor for wildfires. He says if this continues, the amount of forest land burned in 2050 could be up by 60%. The important thing, though, is to know that this is preventable.
Our top national story from ABC News. More than 24 states are seeing very high levels of flu-like illnesses so far, and health experts say we haven't even hit the peak of cold and flu season yet. According to numbers from CDC, there have been 15 million flu illnesses and 7,400 deaths so far. ABC News medical contributor Dr. Darian Sutton says the new flu numbers are being driven by a new variant, subclade K, but stresses that it's not more severe than other flu variants.
The silver lining here is it's not proving more effective in causing more severe disease on the individual basis. We can see more and more people coming into the emergency room, but the overall outcomes of the flu experiences, for the most, will probably be similar if you've had the flu last year. But there are more people with the first-time experience with the flu than they've had in quite some time.
Doctors say it's not too late to get a flu shot as it provides protections for developing severe illness and can keep people out of the hospital. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow ending the day up by 86 points, sitting at 49,590. S&P up by 11 points. The NASDAQ, it's up by 63 points. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by UCCU. Supercharge your savings at uccu.com. Here's Ricky Meese.
It's a delay-free drive on all the Valley freeways, not crash-free. We have a small accident out of traffic on the right shoulder, southbound I-215's West Belt coming from the 21st South Freeway. And then in Murray, emergency road repair. This may be due to a pothole. This is blocking left lanes of traffic eastbound 4500 south at 4th East. Supercharge your savings with UCCU's high-yield savings certificates. The more you deposit, the more you earn. Visit uccu.com. Select a high-yield savings option and earn more. UCCU. Love where you bank. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
When it comes to the forecast, pretty much what you see is what you're going to get for the next 7 days. The only difference will be that haze will increase tomorrow. Hopefully something will blow that out of here on Friday, but not a chance of rain for the next 7 days. 39 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
It all started with a commitment to comfort. Gillette Heating and Air is proud to be Utah County's go-to team for expert HVAC and plumbing solutions. Need a repair, upgrade, or seasonal tune-up? Don't let cost hold you back. With 0% financing available, it's easy to get the work done now and pay later. Plus, save $100 on any repair over $500 and keep your system running strong with a professional tune-up before the heat hits. Visit GilletteHVAC.com or call 385-GET-COOL to book today. Homegrown service pros, financing made simple, comfort made easy.
Carrier, turn to the experts. A Carrier factory authorized dealer.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Does it feel like someone's stabbing a knife into your heel? Or does your lower back give you problems as the day goes on? The Good Feet store wants to help you like we helped Ann.
Every time I stood up, pain just shot up my legs. Fortunately, I found the Good Feet store. I went to them after my doctor diagnosed me with plantar fasciitis. And now, thanks to the Good Feet store, I'm 100%.
Wouldn't it be nice to get back to doing what you love, like Patrick did?
I was in constant pain. Somehow my fiance and I found our way into the Good Feet store. Put my foot on the arch support system. I put them in my shoes, my back, my knees, my ankles. Thank you. Thank you, everybody at the Good Feet store. You gave me my active life back.
Learn more or schedule an appointment at goodfeet.com and come in and get your free personalized fitting at the Good Feet store. We have locations in Farmington, Riverton, and Sandy.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
This Friday from 10 to 1, the movie show comes to Sound Sleep. But first, take time to learn about a better night's rest. Sound Sleep delivers oral appliance therapy that treats sleep apnea without the use of CPAP machines. They're professionally fit, warranted, and covered by most major medical insurance. End the days of a poor night's sleep. With offices from Clearfield to St. George, Sound Sleep will help. Call Sound Sleep at 801-716-8672 today.
Thanks for tuning into Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell says he is the target of a criminal probe related to what he told Congress about a renovation of the Fed's headquarters. In a video statement, Powell claims the investigation is about President Trump's pressure campaign to undermine the Fed's independence and to lower interest rates.
On Friday, the Department of Justice served the Federal Reserve with grand jury subpoenas, threatening a criminal indictment related to my testimony before the Senate Banking Committee last June. That testimony concerned in part a multi-year project to renovate historic Federal Reserve office buildings. I have deep respect for the rule of law and for accountability in our democracy. No one, certainly not the chair of the Federal Reserve, is above the law. But this unprecedented action should be seen in the broader context of the administration's threats and ongoing pressure. This new threat is not about my testimony last June or about the renovation of the Federal Reserve buildings. It is not about Congress's oversight role. The Fed, through testimony and other public disclosures, made every effort to keep Congress informed about the renovation project. Those are pretexts. The threat of criminal charges is a consequence of the Federal Reserve setting interest rates based on our best assessment of what will serve the public, rather than following the preferences of the president. This is about whether the Fed will be able to continue to set interest rates based on evidence and economic conditions, or whether instead monetary policy will be directed by political pressure or intimidation. I have served at the Federal Reserve under 4 administrations, Republicans and Democrats alike. In every case, I have carried out my duties without political fear or favor, focused solely on our mandate of price stability and maximum employment. Public service sometimes requires standing firm in the face of threats. I will continue to do the job the Senate confirmed me to do, with integrity and a commitment to serving the American people.
ABC News White House correspondent Karen Travers says the White House is denying any involvement in the investigation.
The White House said Monday that President Trump did not direct the Justice Department to open an investigation into Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt was asked if she could reassure Americans that the president's longstanding criticism of Powell had nothing to do with the investigation. She said,
"The president has every right to criticize the Fed chair. He has a First Amendment right, just like all of you do. And one thing for sure, the president's made it quite clear, is Jerome Powell is bad at his job."
Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
But what exactly is the whole thing about, and why is it an issue now? ABC's Elizabeth Schulze explains on the Start Here podcast.
This was a clear escalation of the Trump administration's attacks on the Federal Reserve and on Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell. So what we saw was a very unusual video statement released late Sunday night by Fed Chair Powell, essentially confirming that the Justice Department had served the Fed with grand jury subpoenas
threatening a criminal indictment related to my testimony before the Senate Banking Committee last June. That testimony concerned in part a multi-year project to renovate historic Federal Reserve office buildings.
But Powell really did not mince words in saying that is not what this investigation is ultimately about.
No one, certainly not the chair of the Federal Reserve, is above the law. But this unprecedented action should be seen in the broader context of the administration's threats and ongoing pressure.
He said at the end of the day, this is a new threat on the independence of the Federal Reserve, and this comes down to whether the Fed will be able to continue doing its job.
And what exactly is the Fed supposed to do?
The Fed's job, as you know, is incredibly important. It sets interest rates, which determines borrowing costs for businesses and consumers. The Fed really is the definitive voice on kind of where the economy is headed. And for months, Fed Chair Powell and President Trump have been at odds. The Fed has refused to lower interest rates as much as President Trump wants because it looks at the data. It says, we're going to do what we think is best for the economy based on how we assess the situation right now. And President Trump doesn't like that. He doesn't like that the Fed, under Jerome Powell's leadership, has not done exactly what he wants to do. And this, we have seen President Trump for months say he wants to fire Jerome Powell.
Which he can't do.
Which he can't do by law. And this renovation of the Fed's building has kind of become the flashpoint in this back and forth between Powell and Trump.
Well, I'd love him to lower interest rates, but other than that, what can I tell you?
I'm sure you remember back in July, they had this big tour where President Trump actually went to the construction site.
So we're taking a look, and it looks like it's about $3.1 billion. It went up a little bit, or a lot.
Powell basically said, what you're saying about this building isn't exactly true, and it was this viral moment.
So the 2.7 is now 3.1.
I'm not aware of that.
Yeah, it just came out.
Yeah, I haven't heard that from anybody at the Fed.
But at the end of the day, this is about so much more than a disagreement over, what the Fed is doing about construction of a building. Mm-hmm. This is about President Trump wanting to get rid of the head of this very, very powerful government institution, and the Justice Department under President Trump taking steps to launch this criminal investigation to suggest that Powell did something wrong.
House Speaker Mike Johnson says if the DOJ wants to investigate, they should be allowed to investigate without congressional interference. In the Senate, 2 Republicans have voiced a lot of anger to the news. North Carolina Republican Senator Tom Tillis voted to block any of the president's nominees to the Fed. That stance has been praised by fellow Senate Republican Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, who says if the Justice Department believes an investigation into the Fed chair is warranted based on cost overruns, then it's Congress who needs to investigate the department. Stay with us. We'll be back with more in just 60 seconds.
Happy New Year, Susan. I really appreciate you picking up the bill for lunch.
I'm happy to. One of my New Year's resolutions is being better with money. So I've started using Upside, the free app that pays you cash back for buying gas.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
Yes, I earn cash back just for buying the gas I was already buying.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make $200 to $300 this year.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now in the App Store or Google Play and start earning cash back on everyday gas purchases. Use promo code RIDER for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's up to 50 cents per gallon on your next fill up. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank account or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code RIDER for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code RIDER. Code RIDER.
Offers vary by user and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions.
University of Utah is updating its public safety guidelines. It includes updating staff and students about different safety processes, aligning emergency response protocols with the K-12 system, and enhancing campus alert systems. It comes after increased security concerns at colleges driven by the shooting death of political activist Charlie Kirk. I spoke with former FBI agent Greg Rogers to get his takes on these changes.
I still have some concerns. I mean, any training, at the risk of not sounding too cynical, any training is good. Unfortunately, I looked through this public safety framework this morning, and it's written by academics and includes things like 5 pillars and 20 priority action areas, and it's basically videos that you watch. I don't think that kind of training is highly effective. It's practical exercises, things like that are much more directed at showing staff and students what they need to do in an active shooting incident. I think much better placed.
So when we look at aligning emergency response protocols with the K-12 system, this is something that hasn't been done before. I was a little confused about that.
Yeah, and again, they are that's one of the things that I find a bit strange about the proposal, because you're talking about radically different institutions. I mean, a high school is often a set of just a few buildings on a small in a small area, can much more easily be defended than a large university campus. I mean, you're talking about radically different protocols that are needed to defend a university campus versus a school, especially an elementary school. Elementary schools are often one building, and those are very different things.
So when you look at these protocols, when it talks about enhancing campus alert systems, what do you see there?
No, that's great, and I think that's good, and coming up with a better system to let students know what's going on and give them the opportunity to what we call hunker down, meaning to lock doors, get in a safe room, all those sorts of things. That's great, and the campus alert systems have been very inadequate, so enhancing those, I think, is a really good idea, and quite frankly, not that complicated.
Yeah, what would you like to see to improve all of this? Sounds like you are mainly concerned about the training that they've put up, but what would you like to see improved?
Right. I would like to see much more practical training. I participated in a number of practical trainings at high schools and actually airport facilities. I just think it's much more effective. It leaves a better impression on the people that you're dealing with. And I know on a university campus, when you're talking about tens of thousands of students, that's difficult. But, you could make it part of freshman orientation even. But just something practical to have actual law enforcement people there explaining to them what they need to do, in different scenarios like an active shooter or something like that. I think it's much more helpful than just asking them to voluntarily watch videos.
That is former FBI agent Greg Rogers speaking on the University of Utah's new public safety plans. A dangerous prison gang based out of Venezuela could be establishing a foothold here in the Rocky Mountains. We'll get details after the break. But first, it's traffic on KSL News Radio. It's brought to you by UCCU. Supercharger savings at uccu.com. Ricky?
A new crash in West Valley, westbound on the 21st South Freeway at Mountain View Corridor. The vehicles are over to the left, but it looks like UHP is going to block that left lane of travel. And a report of an accident, 1700 South near 5100 West. Your ultimate destination for the hottest new cars and trucks, off-road vehicles, exotics, and more is at the Utah Auto Expo, the 16th through the 19th at Mountain America Expo Center. Tickets at autoshowutah.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
All right, Utah, this is your shot. KSL and Ivory Homes are teaming up to send you to the big game in Santa Clara on February 8th. If you've ever dreamed of stepping onto football's biggest stage, the time to play is now. To qualify, just stop by any Ivory model home between now and January 31st. Walk through and ask about Ivory's super low rates, as low as 4.99% for a 30-year fixed. So get off the sidelines, visit an Ivory model home today, and enter for your chance to see the most incredible halftime show and the ultimate football experience. Start now at ivoryhomes.com/super. That's ivoryhomes.com/super.
This sweepstakes is open until January 31st, 2026 for residents of Utah who are at least 18. No purchase necessary. See the official rules at ivoryhomes.com/super.
Every January, Duke's Jewelers celebrates another year serving the Springville community. And this year, they're doing it in a big way. It's the anniversary sale. And for 3 days only, January 22nd through 24th, all jewelry in the store is 50% off. That's right, half off everything in the case. Diamonds, gold, colored gemstones, signature pieces, everyday favorites. If it sparkles, it's on sale. And that's not all. For those dreaming up something one of a kind, special orders, custom design projects, and all watches are 25% off. Duke's Jewelers is proud to be a fourth-generation family-run business, and this sale is the Duke's way of saying thank you for supporting local, choosing Main Street, and trusting Duke's Jewelers with your most meaningful moments. But don't wait. These savings last just 3 days, January 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. Visit Duke's Jewelers on Main Street in Springville and shop the biggest sale of the entire year. Duke's Jewelers. Elevate every moment. Some exclusions apply.
What if you could have reliable and intelligent Wi-Fi? And get this, what if you could keep it at the same price for 5 years? That's the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. 5 years of Wi-Fi that boosts speeds to the devices that need them most. That finds and fixes problems before you even notice them. Like super intelligent Wi-Fi with a sixth sense. And that keeps you gaming in the fast lane, even when the whole family's banking on bandwidth. All your devices working in perfect harmony for 5 whole years. And here's the best part. No annual contracts, no hidden fees, and our best equipment included. Hey, let's face it, a lot can change in 5 years. Kids grow taller, dreams grow bigger. But your Wi-Fi? It would stay reliable and the price would stay put. The Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities. Xfinity. Imagine that. Select plans only. Restrictions apply.
Meet Morgan Jones. Morgan is about to step into a world unknown to most, thanks to Progressive's Renters Insurance, a place of fresh linens and turn-down service. You see, Morgan temporarily vacated her apartment and has gone to a hotel because a pipe burst in her apartment. A pipe that made her sense of reality and apartment ceiling all come crashing down. Luckily, Morgan checked into Progressive's Protection Zone. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime.
Our entry-level data plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
You are listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Concerns of a dangerous Venezuelan gang have now come to Utah. KSL TV's Andrew Adams spoke with law enforcement officials on how large this gang's presence in Utah is and what police are doing about it.
We do see them involved in a lot of street-level crime.
On the streets of Salt Lake City.
A lot of crime when it comes to gang-on-gang violence.
Police say one gang quietly has been rising up the ranks.
TDA, Tren de Aragua gang.
Tren de Aragua.
They have terrorized multiple South American countries.
A prison gang known throughout Latin America for extortion, drugs and human trafficking, kidnappings and killings, has now been linked by investigators to crimes closer to home.
And that's when we really started to realize that we did have a presence here in Utah.
Utah Department of Public Safety Chief of Investigations Tanner Jensen says while the Sureños, Crips, and Bloods claim far more members in Utah, and the Sinaloa cartel continues to rule the drug trade throughout most of the Rocky Mountain region, Tren de Aragua is looking for its cut.
Trying to build an identity here in Utah and build out their network.
Jensen says, though, that's easier said than done, with the Venezuelan gang very much on law enforcement radars since 2024. Back then, the National Sheriff's Association even stated TDA had given its members the green light to fire on police officers.
We're certainly worried about the emergence of gangs coming out of Venezuela.
Jensen says TDA's numbers in Utah likely are only in the dozens, but police don't want to see crime escalate in the new year if the group attempts to seize greater power on these streets.
So we'll continue to focus on Tren de Aragua as a trend, and making sure that law enforcement has good information and can handle that gang appropriately.
That is KSL 5 TV's Andrew Adams. Some of the top collegiate gymnasts in the country competed at the Maverick Center on Saturday, along with a special surprise Olympic guest. KSL News Radio's Britt Johnson took her daughters to the Sprouts Farmers Market Collegiate Quad, and she joined me to talk about the experience.
It was a lot of fun. I think, one of the reasons I wanted to go, I worked on this story over the weekend and thought, I'm going to go show up, take my kids, make an event of it, make a day of it, because it was some of the top teams in the country. Oklahoma was there, who was the 2025 national champion, and their floor routines, next level, I just have to say. And then, of course, cheering on the Utes, and then we were really excited to watch Jordan Childs, because not only have we seen her in the Olympics, but we also really got into this last season of Dancing with the Stars.
So talk about what this means to your young girls. Why did you want them to see this?
I think it just... it's inspiring to see people reach that level of competition and athleticism, and they're teenagers, so college is in the near future, and just seeing what kind of opportunities there are for women and what kinds of, it's aspirational, I think.
So what did your kids think about Jordan Chiles?
Oh, they loved watching her. And, like I said, I loved all the floor routines. Her floor routine, she definitely showed some of those moves that were highlighted in Dancing with the Stars. So it kind of came full circle to the fandom of the show right there in person on the floor routine, doing her cool she did some throwbacks, girl power songs in her floor routine. And it was just fun to watch that.
Okay. The Utes kind of had a rough day on Saturday, but they did have one bright spot.
Oh, it was so fun. Yes. Avery Neff got her first ever career 10-0 on the vault, and that was really fun to see. I think it was the only perfect score of the day, if I remember correctly. And so the Utes really shined on the vaults. I think it was, is it Ashley Glenn? She got a 9.975, so right up there. So the Utes really shined on vault. I think they just got off to a rough start on beam. And I wonder if...
And that shakes your confidence.
Yes, and I wonder if everyone hates to draw beam first, because you kind of have to get warmed up into the meet, and that is a event that really, it's precarious. Sorry, did I hit that? It's precarious. You have to, there's a lot more chance of falling, and that just shakes your confidence, not only as an individual, but team-wise. So to start off on the beam and to have several falls was tough. And then we also did have a fall on the bars. So vaults was great, but I think those were the areas where we just really fell short, unfortunately.
And back to Avery Neff, she's a local. So that's also inspiring for your girls.
Yes. And my girls, they're not huge gymnasts anymore, but they definitely used to take gymnastics, and got them being like, wait a second, maybe we should hop on the bars again. Maybe we should try some of this stuff. So it really is neat to go feel inspired by these local women.
Anything else?
It was really fun to just see basically the top gymnasts in the country all there together. Really, it was a really high level of competition, and everywhere you looked, like my girls were like, I'm kind of in sensory overload because you're watching something amazing on the bars, and then all of a sudden someone just did this crazy dismount on the beam, and someone just did an amazing tumbling pass on the floor. So, there was never a dull moment. It was so fun to watch.
100 local youth gymnasts got an extra surprise. Olympic gymnast Laurie Hernandez showed up for a book signing and a meet and greet. And if you can't get enough of the Olympics, we're sending a team to Milan, and we will be covering the games here on Utah's home for the Winter Olympics. It's 2:30 midday at KSL News Radio. I'm Maria Shilaos. Some of the stories we are watching this hour. One state lawmaker hoping to change a prominent Salt Lake City street name. Local versus state control. We are going in depth. A major Instagram password reset scam going around right now, and industry experts think that there's been a data breach. And KSL traffic, Ricky.
Crews are clearing a crash downtown at North Temple and 3rd West. Maria?
The haze we are seeing outside is expected to grow tomorrow, so we're going to be in for some gunky air, and the temperature's staying about the same. It's 2:30.
ABC News, I'm Mike Dubusky. Stocks closed the day in the green after a rocky morning on Wall Street as investors reacted to the criminal investigation into Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell. Powell says this is over statements he made to Congress about renovation efforts at Fed buildings, but ABC's Elizabeth Schulze says Powell adds this is about pressuring the Fed into lowering interest rates.
President Trump now denying involvement in the investigation, saying, I don't know anything about it, but he's certainly not very good at the Fed. 2 weeks ago, Trump said this.
We're thinking about bringing a suit against Powell for incompetence. Because think of it, these aren't outstanding buildings. These are small buildings.
The $2.5 billion renovation of the Fed's Washington headquarters became a target of the president's during a tour of the construction site in July. Powell pushed back, saying Trump cited inaccurate numbers on the cost.
And the death toll in Iran's recent wave of anti-government protests has now surpassed 600. This is ABC News.
KSL's top local story. There's a new proposal on the table to do away with what people think of as common law marriages. KSL News Radio's Heather Peterson explains.
Utah doesn't legally have common law marriages, but currently there's a way to have a court-recognized union that's not actually getting married. It's a way to legitimize a long-term relationship in case of splitting up assets in a breakup or if someone passes away.
They have this incentive to try to prove, well, we weren't married for 12 years, but we were together for 12 years. So it does create some ambiguity and some uncertainty into a divorce proceeding, and often you'll have to go to trial to get that resolved.
State Senator Todd Weiler told Inside Sources he wants to do away with that, so the only way to be recognized as married is to officially get married. The bill he's putting forth proposes that unless a couple gets their official court or administrative marriage paperwork before May 6th, the marriage is invalid. Heather Peterson, KSL News Radio.
Other stories KSL is following. A cold case in Washington County may come one step closer to being solved thanks to revolutions in DNA technology. KSL News Radio's Cameron Elliott has more.
This unidentified woman has remained in the unknown plot marker in the Hurricane Cemetery since 1970. That is, until 2014, when the case was reopened because of a confession by a prisoner in New York State. Authorities say the inmate confessed to a murder that was consistent with the time and location, but because they were never told the man's name, they could never follow up on it. Detectives then planned to exhume the woman's body to pull DNA evidence, but when they dug up her plot, they couldn't find her. A new detective who has since been assigned the case says that they're going to go back and try again.
The detective in charge says they may have missed the body because of changes in grave digging practices since the 70s. Wyoming liquor stores are trying to get the word out. If you are banned from buying alcohol in Utah, don't expect to buy alcohol by crossing the border.
A new Utah law bans people with extreme DUI convictions from buying alcohol, and that ban will be printed right on your driver license. To be considered extreme, a person was driving with a blood alcohol content of 0.16 or higher, or they were driving above the legal limit combined with other controlled substances. The Cowboy State Daily spoke with liquor stores along the Utah-Wyoming border. They all said if a Utah license says no alcohol sales, they'll enforce it. Technically, the Wyoming stores don't have to, but they tell the paper they don't want to do anything that might put their liquor licenses at risk. Randall Jepson, KSL News Radio.
Your money at this moment, the Dow ended the day up by 86 points, sitting at 49,590. S&P up by 11, and the NASDAQ up by 63 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by UCCU. Transfer savings, earn more. UCCU, love where you bank. Here's Ricky Meese.
Crews are still working to clear this crash in West Valley at the SR 201 Mountain View Corridor Junction. It's over to the left. The crash has cleared. This is 3rd West at North Temple, but a new accident for downtown drivers is already being cleared at West Temple and 9th South. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
It's going to feel like we're stuck in a rut next 7 days. Not much happening in the forecasting. Pretty much what we're seeing today. The inversion will increase over the next few days, however, and hopefully will clear out on Friday. But the temperature up to 40s for the weekend. Right now, 39 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. We do have some breaking news here on KSL News Radio. Minnesota officials are suing the Trump administration over ongoing immigration operations. The lawsuit intends to stop the deployment of 1,000 additional Border Patrol agents. They're expected to go to Minneapolis, where protests over last week's deadly ICE shooting continue.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Email from school about the incident today.
Scary.
Tell me about it. Did you have any idea that was going on?
None. I mean, you saw Derek at the game last night, too. Did you have a clue?
No, but you know, teachers like me, parents, we don't always know as much as you guys do. Kids hear first about what's going on with other kids.
Half the time, it's rumors.
It can be hard to tell sometimes, but if you're ever concerned about a friend who's having trouble with alcohol, prescription drugs, bullying, violence, anything, you need to tell an adult. Mom or me, a teacher, coach, school counselor, someone you know and trust.
Dad, no kid is gonna tell an adult about that kind of stuff.
I get it, but if we don't know, we can't help. Speaking up about a problem, that's what helping a friend is all about.
For more information,
Visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
What makes you so different than the rest of us?
We ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Tell me more.
Our investment counselors focus on service over sales, prioritizing clients' needs.
How do you make money?
We don't sell any commission-based products. We have a simple management fee based on the value of our client's portfolio. So we do better when our clients do better.
What about client portfolios?
We get to know each client, their finances, family, health, lifestyle, and more, and then we tailor a portfolio based on their specific goals and needs.
Your clients really come first then, huh?
Yes, we make them a top priority. Our goal is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Wow, maybe we are different.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
You are listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. State versus local control has become a focus over the years during the Utah legislative session, and with just a week to go until the 2026 session, it looks like the issue will resurface again. Eye on the Hill, we have special coverage of the upcoming session. We begin with a proposal to rename one of Salt Lake City's streets after murdered political influencer Charlie Kirk. State Representative Trevor Lee proposing that the current 900 South in Salt Lake, known as Harvey Milk Boulevard, be renamed after Kirk, who was shot and killed here in Utah last September. Milk was a prominent member and activist for the LGBTQ community. He was a member of the San Francisco City Council and was assassinated in 1978. Representative Lee telling KSL News Radio's Adam Small that Charlie Kirk deserves to have a memorial.
Well, Charlie was an icon, an advocate for free speech, as you know. I mean, he wanted to have civil dialogue. He wanted to interact with those who disagreed with each other. In fact, in my opinion, he was the definition of how you can disagree better with someone and still, be friends at the end of the day, or what I would call someone trying to come to common ground, or peacemakers with some of the ridiculous polarization that we have in this day and age. And Charlie Kirk was the best of that. He was a kind man. He was a good Christian going man. He actually lived what he preached, which I find very hard. It's very hard to find in this day and age. And Charlie was the best of us. And it's extremely sad that it happened to be here in our state on one of our campuses that he was assassinated. And not a better way to memorialize him than to name a street after him in our state. And I think it's something to hopefully always remember him by, and everyone can realize the great impact that Charlie had. And I mean, in fact, it was so big, he had a larger memorial service than past presidents who had died, which to me is extraordinary to see how big and wide of an impact he had. And I just think that it's a great way that the state of Utah can honor him with having such a horrific thing happen in our state for him.
But why rename Harvey Milk Boulevard in Salt Lake City as opposed to a road closer to Utah Valley University where Kirk was killed? Representative Lee says there are a few reasons.
Number one, it's the heart of Salt Lake City. It's the heart of our state, right? It's in the middle of it. So I feel like it's a good representation of, everywhere people come to Utah, Charlie Kirk Boulevard. It's a very prominent street. It's also been a street that they've already changed the name on it before. Right? It's not like I'm taking a new street and changing the name of it, but it's something that's already been changed in the past. And I thought, what a better way to do it from someone who has zero ties to Utah, who I believe was actually a bad person, to Charlie Kirk. And we can change what I think is an embarrassment from Harvey Milk Boulevard to someone who was a really good person in Charlie Kirk in our state.
The city added an honorary title to a portion of 900 South in 2016, opting to have it alternatively known as Harvey Milk Boulevard. A representative for Mayor Aaron Mendenhall's office tells KSL that they adamantly oppose the bill, saying it erodes local control. If the city chose to rename a different street after Milk, Lee says,
I mean, they can do what they want. I mean, that's the whole, obviously, the idea of local control there. I just, in this instance, that for me is the perfect street to name after Charlie Kirk right now in this moment.
The bill would also limit a municipality's jurisdiction and control of a Class C road, allowing the legislature to step in and make a special designation of or name a Class C road. Representative Lee says the state already has the authority to rename the street if they see fit, and he tells KSL that his bill would reaffirm the authority that the state already has. We do have breaking news here on KSL News Radio. Minnesota officials are announcing a lawsuit against the Trump administration over an ongoing immigration operation. Let's listen in now.
That fits a pattern. In 2025, 93% of the people arrested by ICE had no violent criminal history, 65% had no criminal convictions at all, and randomly stopping people in the street because their skin color isn't the one that they expect or want isn't doing a thing to help public safety. I've heard the administration talk about fraud. No, not the 43 fraud convictions the president has or the $43 million fraudsters the president has pardoned, but instead saying that ICE is here to look for fraud somehow. You know, we work with federal government all the time, and if the federal government wants to help us with forensic accountants, we're open to that conversation. But these ICE agents who are engaged in the behavior that they're engaged in are not helping public safety at all. Immigration enforcement agents aren't trained to investigate fraud, and randomly stopping people on the street because you don't like their accent isn't going to stop fraud. So enforcing federal immigration law and fighting fraud are just pretexts for this surge. The real reason, it's no secret. Donald Trump and his administration have been targeting people, cities, and states that don't agree with them politically. He singled out Minnesota countless times. He's called us corrupt and crooked. He's attacked our funding to the tune of billions of dollars, which we are challenging. And we fought back, of course. He's attacked programs that Minnesotans rely on and tried to shut them down and pay taxes for. And he's attacked Minnesotans with despicable, racist, xenophobic language. The truth is, Donald Trump doesn't seem to like our state very much. But what's that about? He doesn't like our best in the nation, safe and secure elections, and sometimes he doesn't like who we choose in them. Just last week, Trump claimed that he won Minnesota 3 times, when in fact he's never won Minnesota. He doesn't like how we take care of each other or how we make sure our kids have enough to eat. He doesn't like the strength that immigrant communities bring to our state. And he doesn't seem to like that we protect our neighbors no matter where they were born. In short, the Trump administration's decision to target Minnesota and Twin Cities is motivated by a desire to retaliate against Trump's perceived political opponents, who are the people of the state of Minnesota and Twin Cities, rather than any good faith concerns about immigration enforcement, public safety, or law enforcement. In conclusion, I didn't have the pleasure and the benefit of knowing Renee Nicole Good, but her friends and family knew her as someone who was kind, someone who loved her family deeply, and someone willing to stand up for her neighbors. That sounds like the Minnesota that I know. The administration wants to paint false political narratives about us, but we know who we are and we know our rights. The Constitution gives Minnesota the sovereign authority to protect health and well-being of every single person who lives on our borders. The Constitution gives us the right to vote for who we want, pray however we want, and be whoever we want, without fear of being racially profiled, assaulted, or killed in our own communities. We're going to defend those rights because as much as they like to believe it, DHS is not above the law, and the people of Minnesota are certainly not beneath it. Let me now bring forward my mayor, the mayor where I go home at night and is doing a wonderful job protecting our city, Mayor Jacob Fry.
Thank you, Attorney General Ellison, for your leadership and your incredible team's work around this issue. Thank you to Mayor Herr of St. Paul for your partnership. These are not normal times, and so the response that we are asking for from the judicial system and from the courts requires that we file suit at this particular moment. What we are seeing right now is not normal immigration enforcement. We are not asking ICE not to do ICE things. We are asking this federal government to stop the unconstitutional conduct that is invading our streets each and every day. You've seen the videos. At times there are as many as 50 agents arresting one person. The scale is wildly disproportionate and it has nothing to do with keeping people safe. In Minneapolis, we've done work extensively with the federal government under multiple administrations to keep people in our city safe. We have worked with the DEA, the ATF, the FBI, the Attorney General's office, as well as the U.S. Attorney's office, to successfully drive down crime in our city. We've seen the results of that work, but let's be clear. The stated reason of this federal government for bringing in this full invasion of ICE and border control is not safety. If it were safety, there would be other mechanisms to achieve safety. By the way, crime is down in virtually every category, in virtually every neighborhood of this city. If this were about fraud, then you'd see an invasion perhaps of accountants. But that's not what you see. What you see is people being indiscriminately taken off our streets. Discrimination only takes place to the extent that a determination has made that somebody is Somali or is Latino, or at least they look that way, and then there is virtually no discrimination thereafter. Here's the thing. You can't indiscriminately take people off our streets, American citizens off our streets. You cannot drag pregnant women through the snow. You're not allowed to take teenagers out of their car and detain them when they are in fact American citizens. That is against the law in every state. That is against our United States Constitution. And we're feeling the impact here in Minneapolis. Schools have closed. People are afraid to go to work, shop, or seek medical care. 911 calls are up. Police resources are indeed stretched thin. We have approximately 600 officers in the city of Minneapolis. Mayor Herr has approximately 600 officers in the city of St. Paul. The number of ICE agents and border control are now in the thousands. They are in the thousands. If the goal was immigration enforcement, if the goal were simply to look for people that are undocumented, Minneapolis and St. Paul would not be the place where you would go. There are countless more people that are undocumented in Florida and Texas and Utah. Why are they in these much smaller cities in the middle of the Midwest? The answer is very clear. It is politics. Florida and Texas and Utah are Republican states. The reason that Minnesota and Minneapolis are being targeted is because you've got a Democratic governor, a Democratic attorney general, and you got Democratic mayors. We are doing everything possible to keep our cities safe through this unprecedented time, and at the same time, we have police officers that are tired. We've seen damage substantially because we're now having to pay a ton of overtime. Millions of dollars of emergency overtime for law enforcement. Emergency operations have been activated across our city and state agencies, pulling focus on daily core services that we, by the way, are tasked with providing. Local police officers are being diverted from the very work that we need to be doing, and small businesses are losing significant revenue, with some worried that they may not survive this at all. People are scared to take their kids into school or daycare, to go into work. They're going to have difficulty paying rent. There is no doubt in my mind the kind of action that the federal government is taking is not just mean-spirited. It's unconstitutional, and every one of us need to be standing up.
And that is Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey. Minnesota officials announcing a lawsuit against the Trump administration over ongoing immigration operations. Let's get a look at the traffic. It's brought to you by UCCU. Transfer savings, earn more. UCCU. Love where you bank. Ricky?
We do have an accident in the Midvale-Murray area. It's on the collector ramp from I-215 southbound at northbound I-15. The vehicles are out of traffic on the shoulder. Common Spirit, hospitals, clinics, and caregivers, all connected to advanced healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with human kindness is here. Hello, human kindness. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
I'm Jordan Wilcox, your Utah tax attorney. When life gets overwhelming, some things tend to fall by the side.
I'm Carlos Sanchez from Draper, Utah. I was managing a business, helping out a business, doing paperwork and getting paid, and my wife got sick. We filed taxes, but then we got audited. And when I went and talked to the IRS, they didn't give me any choice. The IRS pretty much said, this is what you owe us, when are you gonna pay us? And we're talking quite a bit. But every time I drive, I listen to the radio. Jordan Wilcox, Jordan Wilcox. So I figure there's a reason this guy's on the radio. So I called him.
Put an end to IRS collection and aggression today.
The amount that the IRS came up with, close to $250,000, and the offer in compromise was about $7,600. That's it.
This is Utah tax attorney Jordan Wilcox. Let's solve your IRS nightmare. Visit endtaxworry.com.
Go for it. The outcome, it was worth it. I'm okay.
endtaxworry.com.
Do you have an IRA or 401k? It's natural to think of this as being your money, right? But remember, you still have to pay taxes when you withdraw this money in retirement. And you could be paying a lot more in taxes on these accounts than you know. A lot more. Learn the strategies that can help you reduce or eliminate your taxes in retirement. Don't miss a special edition of Retirement Solutions Radio this Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock. Right here on KSL News Radio 102.7.
Hi, this is Derek Overstreet, president of the New Millennium Group and co-host of Stop Working, Start Living with KSL News Radio. Can you imagine what your life would be like if you could retire 3 to 5 years earlier than you thought possible? The things you could do, the loved ones you could spend time with, the memories that you could create. That's what our team at the New Millennium Group does. We'll walk you through the entire process every step of the way. If you'd like to get a copy of the 5-step proprietary plan that will help you retire 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible, give us a shout right now. 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com. Listen, most of our listeners right now have a tax problem, not a money problem. There's not enough money in Social Security Medicare as it is. Let us show you how you can significantly reduce your taxes. That's 888-999-6370, 888-999-6370, or utahsfinancialplanner.com.
You probably know if you need new windows. You hear the wind whistling. There's condensation between the panes. Maybe your heating bill's too high, but you don't want to pull the trigger because it costs a lot of money. I understand. And they understand at Advanced Window Products. After all, they've been creating custom state-of-the-art windows right here in Salt Lake for 39 years. They know what's up. That's why they offer 60-month 0% financing or buy now, pay later. You get the windows this winter for 30 to 40% less because you're buying straight from the factory. They'll build, they'll install your windows, and you don't have to pay for a year or more. At Advanced, they're committed to making your new windows affordable. And if you call now, they'll knock another $2,500 off your quote. State-of-the-art, energy-saving windows built here for Utah's changing climate. And right now, $2,500 off. Call for a quote, 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or go to advancedwindows.com.
We do have breaking news here on KSL News Radio. A 31-year-old from Springville was killed in an avalanche this weekend while snowmobiling in Wyoming. Lincoln County Sheriff's Office says Nicholas Bringhurst was in the LaBarge Creek area when he was buried by the avalanche. His friends were able to find him and gave him CPR, but he did not survive. Before the break, we heard about a proposal to rename a city street in Salt Lake City, changing it from Harvey Milk Boulevard to Charlie Kirk Boulevard. The bill being sponsored by State Representative Trevor Lee. How are local businesses on that road responding to the proposal? Well, many aren't happy. In fact, several businesses have started a petition hoping to keep the state from renaming the road. For that perspective, let's bring in KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera, who spent the weekend chatting with a few business owners and some city council members.
Maria, I got actually tipped off to the story by a video on Instagram, a video that's been gaining major traction over the last few days. And by the time Maddie Nilsson posted that video, she says she'd already been sitting on a lot of frustration. Nilsson owns Salt Lake Pottery Studio and the Art Cafe on Ninth South, also known as Harvey Milk Boulevard. She says it was her landlord who gave her a heads up on the bill.
The reason why I posted was because one of my landlords on 900 South, she sent me a text and she said, I really hope you signed this because we need to get as many signatures as possible. That just really fueled me. And I look at one of my managers at the pottery studio and I said, take my phone. I need to make a video and I need to make one right now. And I made one video and I was so just full of really just anger that our state would step into our city and try to take away our right of naming a street. And I took that video because especially 900 South, I mean, this is made up of all small businesses. I think our street has the most small businesses in one compacted street in the entire country.
Okay, so Eric, there are some business owners who are upset, but what are city leaders saying about this?
Right. Council member Eva Lopez Chavez says for many small businesses, Harvey Milk Boulevard has become a symbol of community and stability, especially at a time when affordability and survival are already major concerns.
Harvey Milk represents every community that's ever faced adversity, starting with the very Mormon pioneers that crossed over. And I think that's what we're getting at is this is an icon that speaks to so many communities, and it has provided a place of coalescing for the businesses of Salt Lake City. And I just want to highlight that Trevor Lee says this has no relevancy to Utah. What does have relevancy today is livable wages, the cost of living, the cost of rent for small businesses, the different struggles that we all face together. And so Harvey Milk provides us an icon to lend itself culturally, to show us to have hope, quite frankly, and symbolically represent the times of troubles that we're facing. I would ask the representative to look at that, and if he can file a bill to change his street name, I hope he can file a bill to change the minimum wage and cost of living here in Utah.
So now what? Where do they go from here?
Right. So organizers, including Nilsson and Equality Utah, say they plan to bring the petition before the Salt Lake City Council at its upcoming meeting, even though the proposal itself is moving through the state legislature. This all comes as lawmakers debate how much say the state should have over decisions traditionally made at the city level.
And that is KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera reporting. The legislative session kicks off next Tuesday, January 8th. KSL News Radio will broadcast live from Capitol Hill all day with updates, chats with lawmakers, and analysis of the biggest bills that could affect your daily lives. That's Eye on the Hill next Tuesday, beginning at 5 in the morning. Thank you for joining me today for Midday. Jeff Kaplan has decided to return after a couple of weeks with the flu. Jeff, welcome back.
Who do we interview at 5 in the morning at the state capitol? The janitors?
No idea.
Something to think about.
Have a good afternoon.
Before next week.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. This is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Good afternoon, 3 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Jeff Kaplan. 39 in Salt Lake City, KSL's top story. The road is named after an LGBTQ legend. Now a Utah lawmaker wants to rename that Salt Lake City street after Charlie Kirk. We have multiple reports. Let's begin with KSL News Radio's Adam Small.
Representative Trevor Lee has introduced a bill to remove Harvey Milk's name from 900 South and rename the road Charlie Kirk Boulevard.
He was a kind man. He was a good Christian-going man. He actually lived what he preached, which I find very hard. It's very hard to find in this day and age, and Charlie was the best of us.
Lee tells me he wants to remove Harvey Milk's name because he has no ties to Utah, and
it's the heart of Salt Lake City. It's the heart of our state, right? It's in the middle of it. So I feel like it's a good representation of, everywhere people come to Utah, Charlie Kirk Boulevard. It's a very prominent street.
Lee also noted the name of the road has been changed before. Lawmakers are set to debate and vote on Lee's proposal in the upcoming legislative session. As it's currently written, if this bill is passed into law, it would go into effect in May. Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
Business owners on Harvey Milk are pushing back against the measure. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera is back live with the story. Eric?
Jeff, the pushback is being driven by people who say this street name is tied directly to community and identity. Maddie Nilsson owns Salt Lake Pottery Studio and the Art Cafe on Ninth South. She says a text from her landlord urging her to sign a petition